Right. Welcome everyone to another session of Crituitous RP. Thank you for joining us this week. Previously, on our adventures through the Storm King's Thunder, our heroes had been following the trails of the rampaging giants to solve the problem of the Shattered Ordning. That travels took them to faraway lands, to strange places, both above and below the oceans. Last week, our heroes saved King Hecaton from the clutches of the Kraken Slarkrathel, then travelled immediately back to Maelstrom, King Hecaton's home and his court. It was no sooner than a couple minutes after they arrived back into Maelstrom that Imrith showed her true face, as she had been disguised as Artir and has been with the party for the past couple of weeks, teleporting now with the dragon mask and conch in hand. I think she had the conch. She disappeared and went off to her lair, where Artir still remained imprisoned. As soon as this happened, the party jumped into action, took a short rest, and then went and saved Artir by teleporting out to Imrith's lair, whereupon she didn't allow them time to engage in conversation, but did attempt to slay each and every one of them. It was a tense battle where many a character took a lot of damage, but with the use and help of a potion of giant size, which turned our heroes from medium creatures to huge, they managed to slay the fell beast. We now resume the group towards the end of them resting inside the lair. Well, not the lair, but that battle arena that they were in. You guys, what were you doing? Were you short resting or long resting?
I think the idea was to long rest because the potion was 24 hours. So we were going to kind of hang out, long rest, figure out what we wanted to do, and then go spelunking or whatever else with our still giant frames.
Did we just have a short rest and look at the sarcophagus and then long rest, or just long rest and do it all in one day?
As it might as well long rest if we're gonna long rest. As Gamel can stay awake and watch the sarcophagus, right?
Oh yeah, and Gamel got knocked unconscious a couple times last fight, so he's not feeling great at this point. And
we've still got correct me if I'm wrong, but we've still got like 2/3 of a potion. Healing potion sitting somewhere that was been giant enlarged that I couldn't drink.
Loic, how many doses of that potion did you drink? I think you only drank one.
One. It was a supreme.
Yes. So, should you wish to use it, it has the benefits of 2 more supreme potions. However, if it's not drank before the 24 hours is up, it'll revert down to being 2/3 of a supreme, which is nothing. So it's up to you if you want to use it, but it is a big, I know in your hands it's a normal sized potion, but it's big compared to Loic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so during the time that you guys had been resting, and something that was covered in private RP, Erin went off exploring. And after they had found the small treasure hoard of Imrith, which only consisted of a little bit of gold, a set of armor, and a book, Erin began questioning why is there such a small hoard? They've faced younger dragons that have had much bigger hoards. So where is this treasure that Imrith should have? And that got the party thinking something's not right, maybe something went wrong, anything could have happened. And in the search for answers, Erin found a hatch that leads to a tunnel that disappears into the darkness below. Erin's dark vision was not strong enough to be able to see the bottom of this pit, so it travels at least 60 foot. as you guys are finishing your long rest, Hecaton stands up, stretches, and as he mentions to you, that was a good fight. Now, I must return to my home to make sure that all affairs are in order, and to find out what happened with my daughters who have disappeared. Will any of you join me?
Real quick, what's up with Loic and Gamble and...
Look, Gamma was checking out the Pearl of Power.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll do that in just a moment. Hecaton is going to be leaving at about the same time as Gamel takes all of his answers. So at least Gamel can't go with Hecaton or Loic.
We've got the other conch now as well, I take it, because I dare say Hecaton's got a conch and we've got a second conch. So we'll catch you up, good king. We'll want to make sure that everything is done here, and then we'll come and confirm that with you once we're finished.
And we can be a matter of cavalry. We'll come in behind you, and if anything is amiss, we can try to rescue you again. So if you get back and there are problems, don't tell anyone we're coming back, and then we can catch anyone by surprise if things are not aright when you return.
Appreciated. You are always welcome within my home. Big, small folk. And as he waves, he blows on his conch. A loud, resounding horn blast comes out of the end, and he disappears from sight, almost fading in the wind as the hot sun blares down on you all. All right, moving over to Gamel and Loic. So, for those who may not be fully aware, viewers, Loic has been experimenting with new kinds of magics, and his purposes are many, other than just for the lulz. He has been...
But it's partly for the lulz.
Yes.
I mean...
He has been looking into the creation of items known as soul gems. These are rare things that old magic from before the spell plague. The actual method of creating it was difficult and lost. So slowly over the course of, I think it was about a month or two, Loic has been turning a Pearl of Power into a soul gem. And upon the party slaying Imrith, immediately used its properties to suck the soul of Imrith into it. Now, with her soul trapped within, Loic has limited but useful benefits. And one of those includes Gamel, who is planning on mind melding with the Pearl and therefore the soul of Imrith. So that'll be fun. What are you actually looking for, Gamel?
Well, based kind of on what Loic had said, I'm using Mind Meld to try and pull the memory of what Imrith did with the mask right after she teleported out of Maelstrom and showed up back here, presumably.
Okay. All right. I need you to roll me an intelligence saving throw.
Well, that's a silly idea.
Is there any way that I could help him being... Oh, no, I don't have to. Just kidding.
Woo! I get a 0 on that, and I rolled a nat 20.
It was as if you were made and destined to do this. Holding the little... Well, which is tiny compared to your large size, your huge size. Holding the pearl in your hand, you focus on the mind meld technique that you've used on other people to be able to communicate with their minds specifically and pull out certain information. Focusing on the idea of this dragon mask. What did Imrith do? You are pulled into an image. It's fading. It shifts in and out. You see Imrith. She's the blue dragon, but she's shifting and changing. You can't quite catch certainty of her shape and form. You see briefly all of the different forms that she has taken to to convince people of whatever tasks she wants them to do. You see briefly her shift into Artir, then into the Storm Giant form you met in Maelstrom, then into the Drow form that you met in Gauntlgrim. You also see her shift into a male Drow, then into a human wizard. You then also see a red dragon before it zooms back to her formed as the blue ancient creature that she is, pushing. She makes her way further into her lair with this dragon mask in hand, and immediately swaps it with another, and then resumes back up to the surface, whereupon to meet you. You push down on that focus of getting that moment. What did she do with the real one when she grabbed the fake? Go ahead and roll me an intelligence-based check. Any intelligence-based check you wish. Just give me a good enough roleplay reason as to why you would use that one.
Now, is there any way that I could help him with this? Because I am in his hand and he has asked for my help through this journey.
Yes, on this one you can give him advantage.
Okay.
Now, can I rather than advantage, I'm focusing on this gem and I'm trying to share these thoughts with Loic as they come to me, being focused on what's happening and being focused on perceiving the events around me. Can Loic be the one who does kind of the check to be getting the sense off of what's happening?
For her to do it through you, for him to do it through you. For Loic to do it through you, Loic can, but he would have disadvantage. So either you do it with advantage or Loic does it with disadvantage.
I think you with advantage is greater chances.
Probably.
You did well on the last one.
Well, yeah. But
That means he's due for a crit fail.
I get a 0 on these.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just call it an investigation check. It doesn't make any difference. All of my intelligence-based saves have the exact same modifier, so just an investigation, I suppose.
All right, and with advantage, you find it perfectly. It focuses once again on that moment where she swapped the masks. She, with both masks in hand, she walked over to a section in her lair that appears to be a statue in the form of a great big serpent. She hands the black dragon mask to some servants of hers, a series of half snake. I just said series and Siri just triggered. A series of half snake, half humanoid individuals all surrounded this snake statue. My Skype has messed up and everyone is frozen up. Can you guys still hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
No
Okay,
problem.
cool. Then I'll keep going as it is. So she hands the dragon mask to these individuals who then place it into a slot on the statue. You can see in a line the black, the red, the white, the green, and now the blue dragon mask pieces, all in place inside this statue. And then it back to the real world.
How much did you see of that, Loic?
I didn't see any of it myself, but I did feel you asking for guidance at a point. What did you see?
Let's see. Does mind meld let me share a thought as well?
I think so.
Yes, you should be able to then mind meld with Loic and give Loic everything that you saw.
I'm gonna mind meld with Loic, give him everything I saw in a moment. Just there it goes. And then I'm going to say, if you'll please take this pearl now, I really need to lay down.
Yeah.
And despite not having a need for sleep, I'm a little hammered and having headaches, and that was beyond anything I'd ever done before. And I'm just going to lay down and recuperate for a minute, confident that Loic can deal with that new information while I'm just going to think for a bit and try to calm my now just buzzing brain that's just alive with electricity, both Imrith, like literal electrical, but then also just like that was just leaps and bounds beyond what I even thought I was gonna be able to do, and I'm just a little rattled about my powers at the moment.
Makes sense.
Okay, so we can assure that the statue is somewhere down below us, because you said that she flew right back up to meet us.
Yes.
Okay, so everyone else is just standing around, or is everyone gonna...
What do you mean? Are you talking about the party?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was before the long rest. Initially, was this?
I thought so. I thought we'd been eating some dragon meat, and then we were gonna rest at this point. Now that we've all fed, and we're gonna rest.
Mm-hmm. Everyone gains the benefit of the long rest after this vision.
Okay.
All right. So when we are ready to proceed, we'll just walk up to the first person that gets up. Say, so all 5 dragon masks are below us.
All 5. I
All
thought
5.
I thought Cloud had the other 4.
It was Imrith.
How did you know this?
Sorry.
Gamel mind melded with the residue of her spirit that I have.
Gamel's laying on his back, but kind of raises up his hand and said, "Yeah," and goes back to just laying there.
1 second. Technical problems, guys.
It's all right. The universe is gone.
I'm going to drop
Yeah,
out of the call real quick, and I'll be back in 2 minutes. Formulate your plan and discuss it, but don't actually do anything, okay? Back in a moment.
Okay.
This is what happened.
We still have some items that need identification.
Right. We know the Tomo leadership is the Tomo leadership. So I mean, we could figure it out from the title there.
Yeah, it's the armor that's probably worth investigating.
The armor I will spend 10 minutes to identify, and it ends up being just a +1 chainmail.
I figure take a long rest and then kill whatever's in the sarcophagus and then dive into the lair and be rich as kings when we get a dragon horde.
Is it possible that the masks you saw, or that Gamel saw on the statue, are counterfeits, like these other dragon masks that we have?
No, actually, that's possible, because she picked up the fake exactly from where she put that. So when we get there, I'll figure it out. But I would not be surprised if she was the one that had 4 of the masks and was only missing this one.
But yes, so very well she could have a collection of fakes that she's replacing with the real ones.
Which would reinforce my gut theory about how Clouth is actually not so bad of a guy. Maybe.
He attacked us.
Well, his people attacked us because we weren't going to let him go to Maelstrom. So if their priority was to get to Maelstrom, then, you know, that wouldn't necessarily mean they're bad guys still.
So the only time you guys had ever actually seen Clouth is in a dream. You've only
Either
dealt
way,
with his underlings.
He's not going to be very happy that we killed his followers.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility there is even no Clouth, that it was Imerith the whole time.
I mean, my vision did have a red dragon in there. I mean, that is entirely possible.
Okay.
We're going to have serious PTSD after Imrith.
What are we going to do about this? And point to the sarcophagus. Are we going to deal with this before we go down there, or are we going to go down there and then deal with this?
I say we tackle things that are right in front of us. So let us investigate this sarcophagus.
let's
we have a-
rest. Let's heal, and then we can take care of what's in the sarcophagus. And then, assured that nothing will follow behind us, we can dive down into this tunnel that you have found, Aaron.
Whereabouts is the tunnel, by the way?
So it's off to the back behind the actual Colosseum of sorts. It's not on the map.
What's this down here?
That's just a 15-foot drop.
Okay.
Okay. So you guys take a look and focus on this sarcophagus, which Artir had initially noticed was housing some form of undead within it. It's a very ornate looking thing, gold designs all over it, and the image carved of what looks to be a human male, decoratively carved into this sarcophagus.
Is there any script or languages on it?
There is script on it. Do any of you speak? What was it? Grab it again. Do any of you speak Olmuan? I don't think any of you do.
Speak
'Cause
what?
it's the first time I've said it to you. Olmuan. Olmuan. Olmuan.
But could I at least potentially recognize it as?
Roll a history check.
I believe this is the language of the cows.
Olmuan. So what did you get? You got a 22. Okay. A long time ago, and I mean a long, long time ago, there was an Olman empire that spoke Olmuan, but the language was lost along with the civilization.
So this guy is
Old,
centuries
old.
on centuries old.
Hmm.
Okay.
You sense the undead within, but you notice that the way that the design on the sarcophagus is made, there's actually an intricate chain system wrapping the entire thing, almost like trying to make it look like it's a mummy's cords, but it's with chains just keeping the sarcophagus closed.
Oh boy.
What would you like to do?
What if this is the wizard from Gamel's vision that Imrith showed us for a second? And if that's the case, what if this is a lich?
Well, I have always been fond of the saying, liches get stitches. So let us be done with this undead creature. The sooner the better.
Okay.
I'm feeling a certain strength at this current size that perhaps makes me foolishly confident, but I've no doubt that if we could kill Imrith, little can stop us.
All right. Well, I'll be way back here.
So we're at double hit points at the moment, aren't we?
Yes, your hit point maximum is doubled because of the spell, which has approximately 15 hours remaining on it.
Our tier still moves at half speed, attacks with disadvantage, and does other checks with disadvantage as well. So just throwing that out there. Oh, wait, no. I don't move at half speed anymore. That has been fixed once I rested.
So you would have eaten and rested, regaining 2 of your levels. So you're only at exhaustion level 2, Artir.
Oh, wait. Okay, so my speed is still halved, but I no longer have disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws.
Just ability checks. All right, so do you guys crack open the sarcophagus?
Check for traps.
I'd like a perception check, please. It's not trapped. There's a very intricate design on the actual chain system. You would have to manipulate the chains through using some form of magical energy or magical force. I pour a spell slot, any spell slot, into the chains, and it will unlock them, and they will unravel, thus unleashing whatever is inside the sarcophagus.
I'm more than willing to do that. I'll give it a level.
So, Artir, what's inside this is evil, right?
Yes. Foul.
Just vile kind of thing. Is anything about this sarcophagus worth keeping, Loic? Aaron? Like the sarcophagus itself?
Not really, other than lost language pieces.
So I'm going to take Whelm, and I'm just going to stand over the head, and then as soon as those chains are off, I'm just going to try to crush in the sarcophagus and just not even wait for it to open. Just crush the thing on top of whatever's inside.
Okay. Real quick, before we act, can I make a check to see what I know possibly about liches? Like, is their body non-consequential so long as their soul is contained elsewhere, knowing the soul stuff that I know?
Yeah, knowing the soul stuff you know, especially with your method of immortality that you're searching for, you would know not to breach that line to become a leech. And that line is such that, yes, leeches don't care about their physical form so much as their phylactery, which is almost never anywhere near their body.
Right. And in addition to that, we could destroy its apparition via magical weapons, right? Or I should be rolling for this.
Yeah, roll for that one. Roll for that one. That would be a history check.
Okay.
Okay, so you know that similar to most dangerous magic monsters and creatures within the world, leeches tend to be immune to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks, but magical attacks seems to be fine.
All right, I will share this information telepathically with everyone just for the sake of quickness, and tell them that it can come back if we don't destroy its phylactery, if it is in fact a lich, if it's the human wizard that we saw in the vision.
Loic, given your smaller frame and therefore comparatively smaller reserve of vitality, since I am capable of minor magics myself, perhaps I should be the one touching the sarcophagus when we unravel these magical bindings so as to ensure your safety. How would you feel about this?
I'm not touching that thing. I'm like standing 60 feet back from it. I told you I'd be back there.
Oh, I misunderstood. Did you need to touch the sarcophagus for the spell slot investment?
You don't need to touch it.
Oh. Remind me about this wizard in the vision.
Don't know anything about it, just that she assumed his form for a minute, right?
Yeah, all you saw is a brief glimpse at some of the forms that Imrith has taken over the years.
But the thing is that she always picks people that exist, it seems. We don't know who the drow woman was, but she copies people that she knows, and she keeps them alive for the information to make it believable. So we can say that this guy once existed, probably, and he probably knew her, and she knew him. And so it would make sense that his body would be here.
Just asking out of speculation for why the body would be here if we release this. Has it got something to do with the dragon masks? You said there's a bunch of them down below. If he has anything to do with this, if he knows anything to do if they're all down there, is it worth releasing this thing now before we've got our hands on a dragon mask?
If Imrith has kept this thing, and if it contains an embodiment of evil, it needs to be destroyed.
I'm not
And
saying
I don't want to leave this behind us. If we go down into her lair where it's only stronger and stronger and more well protected, I don't want the chance of anything coming in behind us, unknowingly or unexpectedly.
this thing has, from what we can tell, has been here for thousands of years. If they're right, if this is to be sealed, can you tell? Has this ever been opened?
This sarcophagus is 1,000 years old, but Imrith probably brought it here and left it here for a reason. And I don't know what would make those chains pop off. It could be just as likely that if anyone but Imrith goes into that cave, the chains pop off and it comes at us from behind.
Can we tell if this is something that's been moved or always been here?
You can tell that it's been moved. It's the way that the topography of the land is doesn't quite match the almost Aztec style of the coffin.
Okay. All right, let's do it.
Now, speaking of vitality, what happens to our hit points with the giant growth?
Your hit point maximum is doubled for those 24 hours.
And so since we took a long rest,
Back up to
we
max.
just have double our... All right.
What was our strength score again?
25.
25.
If it wasn't already. All right, so Artir, are you stepping up and putting what are you doing?
Just so Gamel knows, Gamel, like, smashing this thing, killing its corporeal form, if it is a lich, it's not going to do anything.
Well, will it keep us safe for 30 seconds longer than otherwise?
I don't know.
If I can get some licks in early, that's just...
Okay. All right, I just wanted you to know what you were in for.
It may not fix things in the long run, but if I can smash something now and avoid getting hit versus smashing it later after getting hit, I'll take the former.
Aaron's gonna cast his protection of evil and good on himself to start off with.
And I'm going to be ready to counter spell.
And
Okay.
Dandrick will start playing on his bagpipes his song of counter charm.
And Gamel's gonna focus his psionic energies to give him extra strength on this hit. He's gonna put on the sarcophagus.
Are you throwing your hammer, or are you standing by it?
Oh no, I'm standing by it and double-handed, just right on the headpiece. Hopefully the body isn't upside down. I'll just hit the feet.
Our DM has put the coffin, the sarcophagus, on the map. If you would like to take your position.
No, I'm gonna stand right next to his chart here.
Okay. So, open her up.
Wait. I pull and I heave and it doesn't work because Loic hasn't cast a spell yet.
You don't have to cast any particular spell, but just I need Loic to say it's unlocking.
It's unlocking.
Okay.
I
so
smash it with a hammer!
Loic reaches out, pours the magical essence into the chains themselves, losing a spell slot, or expending a spell slot rather. The chains immediately begin to glow, and they start to run past one another. They are crisscrossed all over the place, and they just start reeling back into some unknown place beneath the crypt. I'm going to need everyone within 20 feet of the sarcophagus to roll a dexterity saving throw.
Do we get a bonus because we're next to Artir?
Jace.
+5, I believe.
Jace.
Right. Yes.
All right, so
That's
that should be
26.
Is it against
26.
something that we can see?
The coffin itself is exploding.
Okay, Artur has advantage.
So that's a... Is your +5 already included?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Okay. So the three of you, can I get Danric to also roll 1? Is that 16 for Danric? So 21?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you all manage to withstand the force of the shards of the sarcophagus as they blow and explode past you. The force of energy from behind it does deal... 25 points of damage, halved down to 12 points of damage for all of you for succeeding.
What
This
type
is
of damage?
force damage. Okay. As it explodes, a creature forms in its wake. Gamel, you do see it, but you're buffeted back a little bit. I'm going to need everyone to roll initiative on this.
Not bad.
So we'll take Artier's disadvantage initiative, which is 13.
Yeah. So 13. Add you on here. Do we have Danrix as well?
There it is. Oh, I keep on forgetting to select the token.
That's right, I'll add him on. So 14 for Danrik. Okay. The creature that appears from the space of the sarcophagus does not look like the embodiment of the fear that Loic had. It is not a lich, but simply a large mummy, tall and strong. Loic gets to act first. What do you do?
I am going to swing my psychic hammer at it.
Whoa.
Yep.
So, you try to grasp one creature you can see 120 feet. The target must succeed on a strength saving throw or take 11 points of force damage. Okay. It rolls... What is that? That's a 23. Does it succeed?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else from you, Loic?
No, that'll be it. I'm gonna see what this guy's got.
Okay. Then, as the mummy looks around at its surroundings and the people towering above it, it will reach out and cast a spell on, well, it's kind of an even footing, so let's let the dice decide. A D3, 1 is Gamel, 2 is Aaron, 3 is Artir. Let's go to Gamel. All right. Gamel, I need a Constitution saving throw. All right, 21. Nice. Okay. You take... so you do save, so you only take half damage. So that totals to 25 points of necrotic damage.
As half?
That's half.
Ooh.
Okay. All right, and that was his action. He will stay where he is. Gamel.
Now I will hit him with a hammer.
Okay.
And I'm going to use 2 side points to up the damage if I hit him. Well, I guess I can hit and then do these side points for the damage.
Mm-hmm.
24 to hit.
A 24 will hit.
And no damage. And then I was going to use 2 side points to up it by 2d6.
Your damage is increased.
Oh yeah, how much more is damage?
Roll an additional 2d10.
So here's the side points, 2d6 plus the 2d10 extra.
Okay. Nice, powerful hit as you crack your hammer against its mummified form.
So that's 35 damage, I think. And then I can attack him again.
Okay.
And we'll just do that normal. I'm not gonna try to add my side points to that.
So another solid hit. That's 12. Go ahead and roll 2d10 more. All right. This thing looks considerably weaker than it was before. Anything else from you, Gamble?
I'm done.
Okay. Then at the end of your turn, it shouts a blasphemous word at you in a language you don't understand.
I was considering swearing at him in Dwarvish, so that is appropriate.
Okay. So I need each non-undead creature within 10 feet of the mummy, which is that nice cluster, you three, to roll a Constitution saving throw against being stunned.
Is this stun effect magical?
Yes.
Artir has at advantage. Oh, that was Artir. That wasn't Danner.
Just going to say. Okay. Can I get... so I don't need Danric's... All right, so Gamel and Erin, you are immediately stunned.
They both have plus 5.
Gamel's 20.
Plus 5. Okay, so Gamel, you succeed. Erin, you don't. You are stunned for the next... until the end of the mummy's next turn. All right, so Danric. What does Danric do?
Ty, you are welcome to take Danric. I just started taking control, but you are welcome to...
No, go for it.
Okay. Well, then I would ask, was the stunning effect a fear effect?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then Danric will use Vicious Mockery on the mummy. Said, "Who wrapped you up? You stupid creature. Your badges look like crap."
So vicious, the mockery.
So a wisdom saving throw. It rolls a 29. Does that succeed?
Jace.
Okay, and it doesn't take any damage on a success, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Anything else from Danric?
No, that's it.
Okay. Erin, you are stunned and can't take any actions. Artir.
I will use my friend Erin's radiant sword and attack the mummy twice. I will not be using Great Weapon Master, but I will be doing so recklessly to give myself advantage.
Okay.
Do it with Great Weapon Master. You got a strength of 25.
I do not wish it to miss.
Okay, so the first attack will hit, the second, however, will not.
I would like to use Artir's Channel Divinity.
Yep.
Conquering Strike to give him a plus... Wait, no. Guided Strike to give him a plus 10. And
the
do
second
that.
attack.
The second one.
Okay, so they both hit.
Alright, so do that for Hellreaver first and Hellreaver second. And I will throw Divine Smites on both of those as well. Level 1s. And he is undead, right?
He is undead.
And then one more. Oops. Okay. So that,
Okay, so 42, 75, 89, 92, 112 points of radiant damage in one turn.
We got 66 on these weapons.
As you cut clean through the Mummy Lord, his wrappings fall to pieces, revealing a shamble of mush and bone beneath, having slain the captive.
Danric was right. Those were non-quality. Danric was right. Those bandages were done very shoddily. Clearly, he just fell apart like mush.
Okay.
Okay.
Aaron's going to lean over really closely and look inside the sarcophagus.
Yeah, I'm also going to investigate it.
Okay.
Is there anything in there?
Roll an investigation check.
Well, I guess we can call that a wrap. Oh.
Nice.
chunks of the sarcophagus that had exploded now begin pouring down from the sky on top of Gamel and kills him for that.
He dies.
So looking over the sarcophagus, you don't really see anything worth anything. It was shattered to pieces. However, you can see that there are runes, magical symbols, carved into the inside of this thing. It seems that there was magical forces within that you unleashed when you unlocked it.
Okay. Can I cast identification and figure out what we could have unleashed, potentially what it used to hold or what it was built to hold?
Yep. Go ahead. So you look over the little pieces that you have. It's difficult to get a true reading on this thing just simply because it is destroyed and it is broken. But you get a sense that the sarcophagus itself was made for one reason, and that was to keep whatever form of life or unlife trapped within for eternity. So even if you were dying, you would remain in that state for all eternity, constantly dying.
It's like, okay, interesting.
It can be a bonus or a boon, depending on your situation. But that sarcophagus is destroyed.
Yep.
Sounds like a turn of torture. It probably did the guy a favour.
Okay.
On to the hole.
With that, you all... Are you going to do anything before you head to the hole? What are you going to do?
I would like to conjure an earth elemental to ride with us.
Okay, just the one?
Just the one. That's all I can do.
You could call a couple of lions out, right?
Do we want to do that, or do we want to wait to do that until... Because it's one action to summon them, I think.
I don't know what they do.
Yes,
Versus
it's an
a
action
minute
to summon them.
to summon an elemental. So I'll do the elemental ahead of time. And if you want to hold on to the lions, actually, I keep forgetting I have them. Gamel.
Yeah, you keep. Yeah, I don't know how to use them.
You just say their names.
That does not help me. I still don't know their names.
Telepathically.
Gary and Floyd.
Telepathically, it's Agrippo, and Antifo and Agrippa, right?
Sounds about right.
All right.
You understand that these items, these are wondrous figures. They are attuned to a particular spirit in another plane. You can use an action to summon the spirit of these creatures onto the material plane, whereupon they will aid you and follow your command for the next couple hours. But upon doing so, these creatures will have to remain on their plane for X amount of days, depending on the item.
7.
I believe it's 7 days. Yeah. But you could have 2 pet lions if you wanted. So, anything else you guys are doing before you head down the deep, dark hole that leads directly down? Nope. All right.
I'm sorry. I want Loic, did you know a great deal about undead?
As much as typical student from Silvermoon may know.
Did you know? Because you were concerned like about Elite and its source of power. I know vampires have when they are slain, they return to their coffin and they reform. Did you know if mummies have a similar thing?
Hold on just a moment. Let me check my database, by which I mean my brain.
26. Okay. A destroyed, and you imagine yourself reading this from a textbook a long time ago. A destroyed mummy lord gains a new body in 24 hours if its heart is intact, regaining all its hit points and becoming active again. The new body appears within 5 feet of the mummy lord's heart.
At least I think I might have been paraphrasing, but that's the gist.
Well, do we see the mummy lord's heart?
It is still within its body. The mush
Oh.
and the muck of
Gamel,
its flesh.
Gamel,
Yes.
get this, smash it. Smash it into a pulp.
Smash it with a hammer. Repeatedly.
With one heavy swing of whelm, you watch as the rib cage and then the heart underneath are just crushed, leaving whelm covered in blood and muck.
I like
He's
that.
not happy.
Not happy. You're smashing things, bones and tissue, and keeping the world safe and dwarvenkind safe from the terrors of undead of mummies.
You do notice something for flavor-wise. You remember seeing whelm somehow absorb liquid when you put him in a
Oh, that's right. Bucket.
load of ale.
Yeah.
You go to wipe off the blood off the side and notice that some of the liquid is being absorbed into, and whelm is tasting the blood of this mummy.
No. None for you. None for you. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Out comes the flask. Pouring some on the flask. This is for you, buddy. Good job. Way to be. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? You're a good boy. You're a good boy. There you go.
Fair enough.
Spit it out. Spit it out.
Okay.
Just
So-
to double, like triple, make sure Aaron's just going to fireball the corpse and just let it burn.
You just don't trust me, do you?
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
So you should all find yourselves stood around the hole. Is that correct?
Jace.
Okay,
Yes.
so you guys follow this hole all the way down. The actual hole itself, it appears to be man-made. It's all stone and brick leading all the way down. But there's enough holes and gaps within this tunnel that you're able to pretty easily, especially being so big as you are, make your way down without any trouble. The tunnel itself goes down about 200 feet before it finally hits the bottom, where you find yourself dangling out from the ceiling a good 30 foot from the floor. Whoever went first drops immediately. It's not much of a drop since you're huge. You can just about fit inside this room. The ceiling is just above your head height in the area that you're in.
You guys have seen it before. Loic gets to his feet, and then he puts his hands like this, and he begins to cast a spell, and a sensor begins to glow in between his hands, and then it vanishes. And I will cast Arcane Eye.
Okay, all right. Then, for the sake of tracking the Arcane Eye, I will move your token so that you can see what it sees. Just a second. Right. So this kind of ethereal-looking eyeball appears, the sphere. You are able to see through the sphere and control it. Go ahead and move. You should be able to move your token wherever you would like to explore. Okay. You head down a very tight gap to a rock wall.
I'm gonna try to get the eye to pass through it, just to check and see if it's real.
Okay. Are you able to have it pass through something physical? A solid barrier blocks the eye's movement, but the eye can pass through an opening as small as 1 inch in diameter. You can't find an opening for it to pass through.
All right, heading north then.
Okay. On your way up north, you see that the tunnel begins expanding as it winds round corners, going from the 30-foot tall tunnel that you're in up to 50 foot before it gets to the very end and opens out into the open room. Once you get to the opening, you can see that the chamber beyond is huge. Like you can't see the top of the ceiling, even with your physical ball. There are pillars that jut out, casting shadows beyond them. The sand kind of builds up within the corners, and you see just at the edge of your vision a hole in the ground. And then just beyond that, you should start being able to see the WoTC individuals, all stood around a large snake head statue. They appear to be chanting something in Abyssal.
Oh, that's the same statue, isn't it?
That is the same statue.
And can I tell?
Sure enough, you look down and you can see that there are the where you saw previously, each of the dragon masks had a little dragon head poking out of the top of it. You can see that the dragon masks have been placed in such a way that each of these 5 heads appears to ring the snake's head.
Okay, so we've established that my eyeball is physical, right?
It is. So you create an invisible magical eye within range that hovers in the air. I would say it is physical, but invisible.
Okay. Yeah. I am going to relay the information that I see a bunch of WoTC chanting Abyssal around the statue. It's the same statue. I'm going to be quiet about it. And I'm also going to shove my arcane eye into one of the headpieces and try to knock it off.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and roll a d20.
Just for clarification, what statue are we referring to? The statue.
It is a. Sorry, what?
What the same statue as what?
As Gamel had seen in the vision, yes.
Yeah.
So you launch the eye as quick as you can with as much force as you possibly can. You hit against this huge solid statue and nothing happens. Your limited amount of density and physicality is not enough at the speed that you can get it to be able to cause any amount of force.
Okay, well, guys, they could be trying to summon Tiamat right now. We need to go in there and stop them as soon as possible.
Well, you don't need to unsummon it or anything like that, but I would like you to roll a perception check through the eye. Okay. Never mind. What's your passive perception, Loic?
17.
17. Okay. Passively, as the eye is moving around trying to get more of a better view of this, you pass by that black hole and you notice that it's not actually a hole that leads down anywhere. There is a very faint shimmer to it, indicating that this is a black...
Oh, God.
A black pool.
Oh, God, it's a portal. Oh, God, guys, we gotta go right now.
Shh. I will pull out my big gun.
And Aaron's going to have a slight concern. It's good to turn to our tier, and these are your people. Are you going to be okay with this?
They're not my people. And I take the sword and I start running forward.
That's what I wanted to know.
Loic, looking still at this black pool, you see a little dot of kind of pink light pop up at one point, followed by another bit of light. Another one. Pop.
Guys, they're summoning her! They're summoning her now!
Pop.
I race behind our tier, so that as soon as he kicks in the door, I can shoot something.
Okay. Who of you speaks Abyssal?
Artir
Aaron
does.
Artir. Okay.
Aaron as well.
And Aaron. Okay. The two of you, as you're racing forward into the chamber, you hear this chanting, and immediately you know what's saying. They are beseeching the god, the dread serpent, for protection while they finish their summoning ritual. And they're just beseeching for the eye of the dread serpent to come and aid them. Bring us the eye so that we may see. And as you all approach into the room... Yes, sorry?
I was going to say, I'm going to keep on moving forward until you tell me to stop, is what I was going to say.
Okay. As you approach into the room, those dots, those lights that you see poking out of the pool, begin to rise up as a large skull forms on the surface of the pool. I would like everyone to roll initiative. But at least it's not Tiamat. Hey.
Not yet. It could be.
It's a freaking holder. I know it.
So
Well,
Artir's
you want to
initiative
start a new party,
is
we could
20.
always get a TPK.
Okay.
I haven't rolled that with initiative, so I'm going to look in. Nope, I'll take 17.
So, I've got all of you in it. Do I have Danrik? There we go. Nice 12 for Danrik.
Need the elemental to roll its own.
Yes. Gets a 6. All right, now give me a moment while I... Well, no, they're going to be focusing on the ritual, so they won't actually get involved in combat unless you pull them in. So, top of the round, as you guys approach, and this death tyrant pops up out of the pool, and you should be able to see the nice clean picture of this skull, this beholder's skull, popping out of the black ooze. Camel, what do you do?
How many cultists can I see? Because the visions only give me about like 60, 80 feet out, really.
Mm-hmm.
But my weapon range is 400 feet, so...
You only know of those that you can see.
How many can I see? I gotta zoom in.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All right, I'm gonna, as a single object interaction, I'm gonna stow my musket. I'm gonna whip out my pistol, use my quick draw, and I am gonna shoot one of the weaker looking cultists.
Okay. Go ahead and fire. There's a series of them, a few groups. There's 4 of which that you can see that all look like human with snake head. There are 3 that look like women.
This may be, but they're all praying, right?
They're all praying and
I don't
chanting.
speak Abyssal, but I'm going to shoot for the women because I think I might be able to drop them in one. And snake-headed guys, I haven't seen those before. I don't know what they're up to. So,
Okay, so a 21 will hit this woman. 23 points of piercing damage.
But it's a really giant pistol now, so I think I do an additional 2d10.
No. Melee weapons.
Because my bullet is like this big now.
Nope.
It's like a little cannonball. Come on.
I'm shooting cannons at people.
And somehow your cannon is still able to do piercing damage.
Fair enough.
No, it's just melee weapons.
All right, what does that do to the one I hit?
It hits her in the back, but she continues to pray.
Shoot her again. And spend a grit point for advantage, because I don't want to miss.
loud explosion as she takes a further 31 points of giant piercing damage and is still able to keep praying.
Still up.
Still up.
I don't like that. All right, I'm going to, if that's the case, I'm going to move. How far can I move now? My movement speed's 30 usually.
Still the same.
Character's so big, I'm having trouble telling where I can go. Yeah, I'm going to just go behind this pillar because I think I can. And I'll be done there.
Okay. At the end of your turn, I need to roll d10.
What is
A
that?
1.
Oh, that's all right.
Okay. Gamel, I need you to roll a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. No effect.
Ooh.
Okay. Artir.
So you described this guy coming out of the portal as a beholder. Is that
As
right?
the skull of a beholder.
Skull.
Yes.
So does it have eyes?
It has one big eye and a series of where the eye stalks would be on a beholder, a lot of red lights just kind of floating around its head.
And would I know, or do I know if it's undead or not?
Roll a deception check.
This would be a disadvantage.
No, you don't, unfortunately.
But it is flying.
It is flying. At the moment, it's just above the surface. So at about even height to you.
And the surface, does it look solid?
No, that pool looks very much not solid. You could go in there and have some fun if you wanted.
It does not sound like a good time to me. Okay, so I will, with my bonus action, I will go into a rage.
Okay.
And I will move to the edge of the pool. And with my 10-foot reach, I will swing at this creature twice.
Okay. .23 is going to hit. Are you going to do anything with the 15?
No, I don't have the ability to do so anymore.
Okay. So the first one hits. Go ahead and roll the damage as you swing and crack your weapon against the skeletal form of this. 36 points of radiant damage.
I will also
Ouch.
do a divine smite.
Okay. You also note that this is susceptible somewhat. Not vulnerable, but in dealing radiant damage, you have been able to tell that this is an undead creature.
Very good. Then with my divine smite, I will say it is undead. And boop.
All right. A powerful swing, a powerful attack. Anything else from you?
I will call back. It is an undead creature.
Okay. At the end of your turn, we'll use an eye ray on you. See what you get. An 8. Okay, I need Artir to roll a dexterity saving throw.
I can see the ray coming towards me.
Yeah. The lights are all invisible. Yeah.
Okay.
You can see it coming towards you.
I have advantage. Nope, that's the Artir. That's not Danrik.
Okay. Your feet begin to turn to stone as you are restrained. Aaron.
Aaron Aaron, does Aaron recognise this is a beholder?
Yes, you recognise. Well, it's not quite a beholder.
Aaron
It is-
studied beholders for the fight before Karazika, so does he recognise what type of beholder this might be?
You know that when a beholder dies, it can become a death tyrant if certain things happen. And this creature has become that. So it is more than just a beholder. It is more than just your average death tyrant, actually. But
Yeah, alright.
Karazakar, you would know Karazakar, nothing compared to this.
Yeah, I don't know.
What you doing?
Right. Can I tell where his eyes looking at the moment?
His eye is looking directly towards you. So down that corridor, which you would learn, you would have noticed that even whilst in the Death Tyrant's eye, like central focal point, Artir was still able to use magic.
Okay. I don't know if that's better or worse.
We'll see at the end of the session.
We will see at the end of the session. I think the best thing I can do at this point is shout to Loic and tell him he's a death tyrant because he hasn't come around the corner yet, and he's maybe better off not being in the eyesight. And then I'm going to cast darkness on the death tyrant with my ring.
Okay.
Spells. Right on top of the death tyrant, right over the pool, so it's 20 feet up and around him.
Okay. Fair enough. Anything else from you?
And then I'm going to move. I'm going to move up to. No, I'm going to move behind here
Okay.
for my movement.
Double speed?
Using my bonus action.
Bonus action. Okay, fair enough. Then we have Danric. What is Danric going to do? He can no longer see the Death Tyrant as Aaron has plunged it into a big pile of darkness. The entire room is pretty dark anyway. Dark vision is necessary to be able to see in here, which I believe Danric does not have.
Yes, I do not know halfling traits.
So Danric does not have dark vision, so he's limited to only a 5-foot radius of sight.
Guys, is our death tyrants bad? I think they're bad. So he'll move up. He'll stumble forward 25 feet, and let's see, what does dancing lights do?
Dancing Lights creates 4 separate light sources, which he can then combine into one humanoid-shaped light. But it would work as a light source.
Okay, he'll cast dancing lights to give him a light source here.
Okay.
And then it's 120 feet, so he'll put one on each side of the statue. That one by this pillar over here, and then one just south of the guy.
Fair enough. So he can now see that whole area is illuminated, except for the point in which the tyrant is in, because it's in magical darkness.
And I suppose that will be that.
Okay. So it's the Death Tyrant's turn. It's going to move. What's the radius on darkness? It's a 15-foot radius sphere, so he's going to move 20 foot away from the dark sphere so that he's out of it.
Does that cause an attack of opportunity for?
No, because, well, yes, but Artir would have disadvantage as the creature is in complete darkness and he can't see it anymore.
Well, if I have the opportunity, I will take it.
Well, you physically can't see it, so you don't see it move away until it's too late. So you.
Yeah, I don't think I should get
can't.
it, but if you're going to give
Yeah.
it to me, I'll take it.
No, I'm not going to give it to you.
Okay.
All right, so it focuses its eye ray still in the same direction back towards. Well, this time it's kind of focused in this direction, so it gets the three.
Technically, can't see us because we're behind the dark area.
It can't see you, but its central eye is focused in that direction. Okay, so it's focused towards Artir, around here.
Okay, so question: if focused, it would pierce through the magical darkness and dispel the a cone area. If it's an anti-magic, is it doing something like that?
It's not. So
It's
you
not.
saw Artir able to cast spells. You were able to cast spells, and darkness doesn't seem to be dissipated. You can feel confident that the cone is not an anti-magic cone.
What does that mean?
It will cast one eye ray at Artir. That'll be a 7. So Artir, I need you to roll a wisdom saving throw against being magically put to sleep.
Magic. Okay. If it's magic, I have advantage. Wisdom. Boop.
Okay, you succeed. Next one. The eye ray headed towards Danric is an innovation ray. I need Danric to roll a constitution saving throw, please. Okay. Danric will take
Oh,
40 points of necrotic damage. And the last eye ray will go towards Artir. What is it? It's a 1. All right. So a wisdom save against being charmed, please, Artir.
With advantage also.
Okay. Yep, you succeed. Fair enough. The tyrant has raised up in the way that it moved 20 foot. So it's outside the black darkness area. And in terms of elevation, it is now 40 foot above the surface of the ground. Okay. So, Loic, what would you like to do?
Start by commanding the elemental, go underground. Don't let the eye tyrant catch you. And your job will be to remove the masks from the statue. If you can meld with the statue, do it. And then I will use a bonus action to use Psionics Aura Sight and assess the Death Tyrant, which means I learn its current HP total, immunities, resistances, and vulnerabilities.
Okay. Current HP total, 196. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You get its immunities,
Mm-hmm.
damage, and condition, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's immune to poison damage, and immune to being charmed, exhausted, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, or prone.
Okay.
And what else do you get to know?
Vulnerabilities, if any.
No vulnerabilities.
Okay. So that's the usual aberrational setup, I feel.
Usual aberration.
Yep. Okay, and then as my action, I will unleash a fireball, which is a 40-foot diameter sphere, and I'm going to get all of the all the UNT. I'd like to attempt to get the Death Tyrant, but if he's 40 feet up, he might be like just on the edge. I don't know.
It'll kind of graze his chin a little bit.
So I need Dex saving throws from everybody, and they all have to pass 18.
What level are you doing at?
Just 3. I'm going to save my higher level spell slots. I got some new spells.
Okay. I have... Still need to close those.
The intent is to knock the statue over and disrupt everything.
I have a 21, an 18, a 21, a 20, a 19, 17, 18.
Okay,
And
so one of them
more
fails.
Was 21. Okay, so one fails, taking 32 points of damage.
Everybody else
Say
takes
that's
half.
the one at the back. Everyone else takes 16. All right.
Did it do anything
Yes.
to the statue?
No, the statue appears to be impervious to fire damage.
Did it do anything to the one gal that I shot repeatedly?
It hit her. If that's any consolation. She is now, for lack of a better term, bloodied. Okay. Anything else from you, Loic?
I'm going to stay here.
Okay, and the earth elemental, you commanded it to
Burrow into the
No,
ground.
burrow into the ground. All right, so
it will get here, underneath
right
the
two,
ground.
sorry.
Right there. That's a dash.
To there. Okay, but it's under the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Then at the end of the Earth Elemental's turn, the Death Tyrant will use an eye ray. This eye ray is going to Danrik again. 5. That's the same ray as before. I need a Constitution saving throw from him.
That's Denrick.
Does Danrik's health include the double he gets from being a giant?
Yep.
All right.
It's another 36 points of necrotic damage.
Denrick is
Danrik.
unconscious.
Okay.
Shit.
Gamel, it is your turn.
Seeing that Loic is probably better equipped to handle the large group of praying people, and worrying that the beholder is more dangerous, I'm going to switch out guns again and go back to my musket. And I am going to use sharpshooter, but I'm going to use a grit point to get advantage on the shot.
Aaron, do you still have the sphere? Visible darkness?
Yeah.
Visible. Okay. So, Gamel, you can see this big, huge spherical darkness. You can see...
Isn't it a
the-
20-foot sphere?
Yeah, 20-foot sphere, sorry.
So it's a
You can
20-foot sphere at ground level, and he's up 40 foot. So he should be over the sphere from my line of sight, right?
It's 15-foot radius, actually, I believe. Yeah. Magical darkness spreads from a point you choose within range to a 15-foot radius. So
Yeah.
the question is, was the point in midair, or was it on the ground?
The point was, I said I put the point higher up, so it
Yeah.
covered more of it. So you probably got something like 20, 25 feet above.
So the tyrant is above it. Its bottom jaw is still a little obscured by the darkness. It doesn't give you any disadvantage, but you can see that the darkness is kind of in the way if you...
Well, I'm gonna
keep an eye
just come up here a little bit, and that should get me 20 foot higher off the ground.
Absolutely.
Clear up that shot.
Go ahead and fire.
Yeah, I'm using a grip point, so I get advantage on the shot.
25 will definitely hit.
And then for my second attack, I reload. 60 feet. I guess this is the hard part about being ranged. I suppose I will be done, except I don't know, Abyssal. I'll just. I'm making loud noise with my gun anyway. There's no point in yelling. All right, I just think angry thoughts to myself and encourage violence generally with everyone else.
Okay. At the end of your turn, the Death Tyrant is going to focus a Fear Ray on you. I need a Wisdom saving throw, please.
Bring it, sucker!
Against becoming frightened.
Wisdom, you said?
Wisdom, please. Right. You become frightened of the Death Tyrant for 1 minute.
Well, he's terrifying. He's a dead beholder. Who wouldn't be scared of this guy? Why are we still here?
The target, so you can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of your turns. Artir, what would you like to do?
I was restrained at the end of my last turn. Does anything happen at the beginning of this turn?
Yes, indeed. I'm going to need, because you were petrified, I'm going to need, at the end of your next turn, you will roll another dexterity saving throw.
Okay, so...
Okay, so you can still act, but you are restrained. So your movement speed is 0, and attacks you make are at disadvantage.
I will be very cross. What I want to do is wait until I can move, and then attack. But that is merely a mechanical obstruction or item. I can't hold my turn until I break my petrification, right?
No, you can't.
Well, if I don't attack this guy, I'm dropping my rage anyway, so I will go ahead and drop my rage.
Okay.
And I will... Is dropping my rage a bonus action, or is that free?
It's just free to drop your rage.
Okay. With my bonus action, I will cast Hex on the Beholder.
Okay.
Let me put that on the screen.
It is now hexed. Now that it is hexed, you get to choose one of its abilities.
Strength.
Strength. Okay, it has disadvantage on strength checks, and whenever you deal damage, you deal an additional 1d6 necrotic damage to it.
Okay. I will, with my regular action, cast Eldritch Blast 3 times on him.
Okay. First hits, second hits, third hits. So just blasts of force energy, all with the extra hex damage as well.
And let me find it. X.
You see cracks forming in the skull as the force damage is quite considerable for an additional 12 points of force damage. All right. Anything else from you, Artir?
I will make my save again.
Okay.
What was that? It was...
Dexterity, please. Okay, you succeed. The petrification ray no longer has effect on you.
Oh boy.
Right. But at the end of your turn, you'll use this last legendary action to cast a ray on you. That's an 8. That's a petrification ray. I'm going to need a dexterity saving throw, please, Artir. A 20. You're fine. You managed to shrug it off.
All right.
Aaron.
Aaron's... His history of beholders is shocking. And he's mustering the courage to to get out there and like everything else. And he's gonna come. He's gonna scream as he comes around the corner. I'm gonna charge straight out of the thing.
Okay.
Use my bonus action to get up right next to it. Bonus action dash.
Okay. You are. How tall did we say?
We're huge, so
Huge. So 25, 30 foot. This thing is 10 foot away from you.
can I reach? If I can't, I imagine we would tall, so I don't know what the scalars are. If I can't reach that thing and hit it, there's no point in me charging it.
You can reach it because thinking about it, your arm is probably just under half your height, plus the blade itself, extra height. Yeah, you can reach. Go ahead.
We've got. Did we get 10-foot reach extra with this?
Yes.
The spell? Yeah. All right. Okay. So yeah, we can. Right. So yeah, I'm just gonna lay into it. One.
First attack misses.
Right. Second attack.
A 21 will hit.
Okay. That's with current dice and cast a Slayer.
So 40 points of damage.
Okay.
Nice.
I'll action surge.
Yep.
So I don't think we're going to get a better go at this right now. So
32 will hit.
okay.
Another 32 points of slashing damage.
It's a superiority dice this time.
For an extra 4. This thing's looking beat up.
Okay, and final attack.
A 21 will hit. Nice. Powerful swing. You cut straight through. You even knock off its lower jaw. It's dangling there, part on, part off. I don't know if you've been tracking, Loic, but at the end of Erin's turn, it is Danrik. I need a death saving throw from Danrik.
Oh, yeah.
That is a first failure. Hang on, why does he have a +2 to his death saves?
Bardic, isn't it something
Yeah,
to do with
Jack of all trades might do it. Anyways, it's a fail. So, Death Tyrant, as it is extremely weak now, you did a lot of damage to it. It will fly up an additional 20 foot.
attack of opportunity.
Go ahead. Go ahead and give it a try.
Oh, sorry, that was the wrong one, I think. No, it's okay. I think that's the right one.
32 will hit. Erin. Being stood up next to that serpent statue, desperately angry at this beholder, having just dealt over 150 points of damage in one turn. How do you want to do this?
As it's trying to lift up and get away, I just want to go and then plonk it in the water, back in the pool.
Okay. All right. So the Death Tyrant is destroyed in the pool, dead. What are you guys doing?
Oh, I am still totally trying to kill all of the Yuan-Ti and
yeah.
everything, and my elemental is still rushing to grab the masks, a mask, any mask, and then return with it.
I'm gonna try to keep Danrik from bleeding out on the floor.
So what you going to do about that?
Well, are we keeping track of rounds? Because I can dash to get to him. But that takes up my turn. Has he failed 1 or 2 throws?
Failed 1.
Okay, so I can get to him in 1. And then... Do I even have any healing potions? I don't think so. Just do a medicine check to try to stabilize him, I guess.
If you want to, like, I'm there with my pack. If you want to try to rummage through it real fast.
It's getting to you to be able to rummage through and get it, and then get it back to him. Go ahead and roll a medicine check to attempt to stabilize him. Unfortunately, a 10 is not a success.
Well, that's 1 turn. And I guess you can make a death saving throw, and then I can try again.
So, death saving throw from Danrik, please.
If Artir could get there, he can lay on hands.
Yeah.
Did we skip over Artir?
So, Danrik, no, we didn't. Did Danrik go after Artir? I believe he did.
Yeah,
It was Loic, Beholder, Gamel.
Okay. So, yes, Artir, you can get over to him and heal him up.
Okay.
yeah.
I will do that. I will put in 25 points of lay on hands.
Right. In your giant forms, Aaron, these tiny Yuan-Ti are no match for you. They're merely an annoyance, as it were, with their sheer amount of hit points.
Yeah. You're just going to be like the Witcher, and he's just going to be...
I guess he willingly entered my radius of blast.
Yeah. That's... Just do it. It's fine.
So the first thing I said is that I'm still going at these guys.
It's fine.
So
I'm
go
back.
ahead
I'm
and
there.
fire.
Okay, so this is going to be a level 4 fireball, and I'm going to pepper it with 2d10 force damage.
Nice.
Yeah. So, first one, and then additional 10 points if they fail the DC 18 dex.
Half of them succeed and half of them fail. So that's 42 points of damage to half of them. Sorry. And that will kill 3 of them, including the woman that Gamel had been firing at.
Huzzah.
Okay.
Then you got the earth elemental grabbing for a mask.
Yep. So over the course of the next couple of minutes, all of the Yuan-Ti are destroyed. Both Aaron and Loic together do that. You're able to raise Danrik back from the brink of death as the earth elemental reaches for the mask pieces and is unable to separate them from the statue. And with that, we're going to go to a 15-minute break. Be back in 15 minutes, guys.
Back.
Welcome back after the break, guys. Thank you for sticking with us. So, our party of heroes just entered into the main chamber where they saw this snake statue being worshipped, with the dragon heads in, facing off with the death tyrant that was meant to slow them down and defend the cultists. They quickly managed. I'm very impressed as to how quickly they managed to destroy the death tyrant, and then
by they,
wipe
we
their
mean
way
Aaron.
through. Yes. And then wipe their way through the rest of the cultists, leaving themselves stood in front of the statue itself. The earth elemental that Loic had summoned reaches forward to grab one of the dragon cult masks that are around the head of the statue and is unable to pry it off. We resume at that point. What would you guys like to do?
So is it the fully integrated mask on the statue? It's not individual pieces, it's all together?
Fully integrated into the crown of the serpent statue.
Well, I'm gonna go and try to rip it off where the earth elemental failed.
And I will investigate it to see how exactly it's being adhered. Or
Right.
Arcana check it.
Go ahead and roll an athletics check, please.
Is it quite high up?
It's at the top of the statue, which the statue is about. Well, the statue is about a 25-foot tall statue,
Can I
but you
pick
guys
Loic
are
up?
big enough.
Can I pick Loic up just to get him closer to it?
Oh, this is humiliating.
I'm gonna switch disciplines, so I'm on brute strength again, and I'm gonna I just get advantage on my roll.
Okay. All right. Thanks to your discipline, you give it a tug and pull. It won't budge. There's not even a single bit of give in this. There must be something non-physical.
Is the statue made out of stone?
Appears to be.
I'm gonna knock the head off.
Before you do so, Loic, what are you doing on it?
I want to see how it's adhered, and I can assume it's probably magical.
Roll an Arcana check. Okay. There is definitely some form of spell on it. You can actually see now that you're at this vantage point above it. Carefully etched into the stonework are a series of symbols and sigils of various different languages. You can see there is some Draconic, there is some Abyssal, there is some of that strange language you saw previously. There's a bunch of different dialects all on the back of this, the crown of this serpent. And they seem to be giving off a magical aura, and that is what is keeping the crown still.
It's this warding stuff. So if you want to attempt to deface it, that might work.
Is it just on the crown or is it on the whole statue?
It is just on the area of the statue just below the crown.
I'm just gonna start beating the crap out of the rock at the neck and try to take the head off like a.
Aaron's gonna get his pommel and his sword and do the same thing.
I'll begin to cast the identity.
Oh, like lumberjacks, where we take alternate turns, like swinging and hitting, and like gonna fell that tree down. Yeah.
Okay. So, Loic stood on top of the statue, identifying the runes, while Aaron and Gamel on the sides are hacking away at it. Right?
Sounds good to me.
Well, Lo just told us defacing it was what we should be doing. So.
Okay. So the two of you repeatedly hack away trying to break this stone and break it. You very quickly notice that as you are attacking the statue itself, it has a forced break point. It's almost as if your attacks are unaffecting the topper section, and it's just about halfway down the neck that the force of your attacks are actually cracking through, and it is breaking, but your attacks do nothing to the top section.
Okay.
Okay, hang on. Let me just figure this out before
Casting the identify spell?
Yeah.
Okay. This is just a simple warding.
Oh, great. Okay. Then I'll cast Dispel Magic.
Okay. Casting the Dispel Magic, the lights seem to fade as the mask shifts and becomes loose.
There we go. I'll pull it off.
You pick it up, and as soon as you remove it from the statue itself, the pool behind you turns to solid obsidian.
Excellent. I would, as soon as possible, like to pull all the pieces back apart.
Okay.
And then I'm going to hand each piece to a person in the group.
Okay.
Can I get the Black Dragon one? Because I've got Black Dragon scales already. It's very thematic.
Sure, whatever.
Gimme.
And as you hand who are you handing the blue dragon mask to?
I'm going to give it to Artir.
Artir. Okay, so Artir, as you receive the blue dragon mask again, I'd like you to switch back to...
First time. This is the first time I've handled this mask, my friend.
Yeah. Okay, so each of you now in turn has a dragon mask. These masks are each a part of a whole that covers a shroud and form the basis of the mask of the Dragon Queen. Removing it from the statue, the air in the room just seems to drop by a couple degrees, almost as if the magic that was happening was what was sustaining this room. The air drops, it gets cool, and you see a glint, almost like a shimmer of light off in the distance that catches your eye, and you see the dragon's treasure hoard.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Though Gamel is focused more on glory than gold, seeing a dragon hoard, he'll expeditiously make his way over there to check that stuff out.
Yeah. How big is this hoard?
Move your map slightly over to the left. Considering yourselves as huge, I will move you to make it easier. It's a nice big pile that's piled up quite high of lots of different things. There's bits of armor, there's weapons, there's coin, there's jewels, lots of stuff. More than you could possibly carry yourselves.
Anything magical catching Aaron's eye?
Roll an Arcana check. You all become Power Rangers because you all have one of the...
I gotta be honest, Gamel's thinking like, I've got black armor and the black dragon scale. I've already got green scales. We've got blue scales. If we go kill a red and a white dragon, I can make everyone matching armor sets. Like, this would be great.
Scale's a bit heavy for me.
What
I'd make it
have? What mask has everybody got? I'm going to go for the white mask because it's like they're more predatory and it makes sense for him.
I've got black, Loke's got red, Danric has green.
Yeah.
Artir has blue. Okay. Well, if you all come together and form one super D&D bot.
Voltron. Made of dragons.
Okay, so there are a number of different things that you see in here, as well as the huge hoard of gold that has about 100,000 gold pieces worth of gold and jewelry in it. There is a bunch of weapons, items, armor in there. There is a lute, a javelin, a ring, a set of armor, a mantle, another ring, and a sword that all look like they are part of this hoard.
All right, repeat. We've got a loot.
A lute.
Lute, not Loot, right?
Yeah,
Actually.
yeah.
Boots, lute, javelin, ring, armor, mantle, ring, weapon.
Okay. That's
So, portable hole. Is it a bigger? Is it a bigger portable hole now that I'm a giant? Is it like twice as big as it used to be? Or like?
I like what you're trying to do, but no.
it's still it's still valid. We can still get stuff in that portable hole.
Oh yeah, we're gonna fill it to the brim.
The portable hole is 10 foot wide
And 10 foot
10
deep.
foot deep.
All right.
So
And I
in
would
terms
say
of-
don't put any magical items in there until I've examined them, just
Yeah,
in case. They have...
I'm gonna open the hole. I had some gear in there that I'm just jettisoning at this point. Who needs torches and rations and foodstuffs? Whatever. That's all out. And I'm just gonna be putting, if it's a book, if it's a weapon, if it's not like just something that is mundane value, set that to the side. Let everyone else look through it. And I'm just gonna find a shovel in this pile of gold and just start shoveling it in. And while you guys do that, I'm gonna do some math.
Like a
to figure out
shield?
the volume. I'm gonna figure out the volume of a portable hole.
So Aaron will take like the magic stuff and put it aside, and it's like I can just imagine sort of like Loic's kind of sitting there, just like, okay, oh my goodness, and Aaron's fetching everything for Loic.
Loic is Scrooge McDucking through the loot. There is only one time in his life he has had the capability of swimming through gold. This is it.
Okay, after he's done, he's gonna be like, Aaron's gonna be like, can you do anything? Can you do anything?
So Loic will have to spend 10 minutes per item. Right?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I assume we're not staying here, though. Or are we staying here?
That's up
Or are
to
you just
you.
want to grab everything and go?
Aaron's gonna rage loot and trying to put as much in the bag of holding.
We're rage looting.
Rage loot.
Aaron, as you are grabbing everything and pulling everything, the sword in particular that you grab, the style of it, it's, if you imagine a scimitar, but the size and shape, well, not so much shape, of a greatsword.
Okay.
So a nice big scimitar with a black jewel set into the pommel of it. You reach up and you start looking over it, and once again, for another time, you've done it before, you hear a voice speaking in your mind as you're holding the weapon. Almost there. Almost there. This weapon is somewhat sentient.
No, take it away.
I will take it.
Yeah, I almost look good.
Artir, you feel a natural pull towards this weapon that Loic is now wielding. And even though it's small in your hands, because you are still large, you feel a connection with this weapon.
I have big anime eyes, and they twinkle at the sword.
Okay.
I reach out. Can
Loic, do
I
you
see the
stop
sword?
him from taking the sword?
Aaron, why did you push it away so suddenly?
It's sentient, and it's talking
Okay.
to me. And I don't really want to play around with another talking sword right now.
All right. Artier, hold on. Just give me like 10 minutes. Let me make sure it's not cursed before I put it in your hands.
If you insist.
I do.
Gamelus had his little book out, and he's been doing some doodling, and he just says, for those of you who are interested, a portable hole is 10 feet high and 10 feet wide, can hold 85.4 cubic feet of gold.
I will write that down somewhere.
Putting that down.
Okay, now if you could calculate the size and volume of a gold coin.
All right, got it.
Okay. Each gold coin is approximately 1 inch in diameter.
The question is figuring out the space in between them because they're not going to be perfectly flush.
Yep. So you can estimate double volume kind of assumption.
Sure.
But
Only-
1 inch in diameter and half an inch thick.
Melt the gold.
D had a perfect packing spell.
So,
Also-
Loic, while you're spending the 10 minutes identifying this weapon, every moment you spend with it, you feel more magic coming off of it. It is definitely a sentient weapon on the scale of Wave and Whelm and Black Razor that you had all met previously. He's very reluctant to speak to you, though. He just keeps, you get the sense of urgency to please give me to Artier. Just repeated over and over again while you're identifying him.
And be like, we just met a dragon that got us good, so right after that, I'm going to check you out first. I'm sorry.
At the end of the 10 minutes, he finally succumbs and gives you his name. This is Eset Telma. And he is a sword of answering.
Okay, I remember that name.
You do?
Somebody somewhere said that name before.
Roll a history check. You have a Hexblade Warlock in your party that mentioned at some point that his patron was Eset Telma.
Oh, once I realize this, I'll be like, oh, my apologies. Far be it from me to separate you two. Here you go.
Soon as his in your hand, he grows to your massive size, because it is your weapon, and you feel complete finally, and no longer is his sentience so much of a separate part that communicates with you. As you and it have become one, you understand what the weapon is made for, what its purpose is, and it is to aid you in freeing all those oppressed by the Yuan-Ti. Whatever that means, that seems to be his purpose for now, is to help you rise yourself to the status of being able to go and help your people become more like you as well.
Yes!
All
Hey
right.
guys, Artier just got a sword.
Cool. Can I have my back now?
Oh, here you go. Here's your sword.
Well, you said it would lead you here, so
For those, and Loic would have learnt this, a sword of answering. You gain +3 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with this sword. In addition, while you hold the sword, you can use your reaction to make one melee attack with it against any creature in your reach that deals damage to you. You have advantage on the attack roll, and any damage dealt with this special attack ignores any damage immunity or resistance the target has.
Ooh.
Now we have 2 errands, for sure.
The I hit you back sword.
All right. What would you guys like to do? You are alone at the bottom of Imwith's lair.
So for a math thing, let's just assume it's not all gold pieces. So let's assume I figured out the volume of a whole, the volume of an individual piece. And let's just say that actual capacity would be like 68%. So you've got like 38% of just empty space. So we're going to say it fills 68%. And that is 22 million gold pieces would fit in there.
And you're doing this calculation as you're shuffling everything in, and you get to a point where you've shuffled all of the 100,000 gold pieces,
Right.
and you're still trying to calculate, okay, we could fit this and we could do this.
Right, and
Yeah.
So it all fits in the hole.
Yeah, it all fits in the hole, as well as 1,000 platinum pieces that are mixed in amongst the hoard.
So is the total that 100,000 gold, or is it 100,000 and 1,000 platinum?
100,000 gold and 1,000 platinum.
Loic,
1,000 platinum is 10,000 gold, so you can convert it however you wish. You can say it's actually 1,000. What is it? Wait, no. I don't know. You can convert it however you wish at some point.
Casey, did you note that down?
I think I don't know. No, I didn't, but
I'll
I
get
thought
it.
I saw Ty doing it.
It's in my hole. I'll get it.
Yeah. We've done all right. This isn't a bad run. Okay, what's the other stuff?
You're going to spend 10 minutes on each item identifying?
Well, I don't really want to do that here.
Well, we're gonna have to physically shoveling everything into the hole is gonna take a while.
I feel, yeah, I mean, that's what Galen's doing. I feel like we've killed everything here. It's a relatively safe place.
Aaron will do a brief, projection out on his senses. Just to make sure the double gun, there's nothing else down here that he can sense.
You push out your senses, you do not sense any monstrosities.
Or fiendish.
Fiends.
Okay. I'm not sensing anything else down here that I can sense. We should be okay.
Yeah, but we could be teleporting back to the lab of luxury.
Well, we got
Doing
to
this
shovel.
in a luxurious way.
How long do you reckon it would take us to shovel 100,000 gold pieces into a?
Well, here's the thing.
Being that he's huge, not long at all.
And
His foot could just slide
think it's bigger than it is. I mean, really, you're talking about filling 68% of a hole. So it's a 10-foot hole that you're filling up. It's like burying a body. It doesn't take that long.
Okay.
Not that I'm speaking from experience. So did you say 100,000 gold, 1,000 platinum?
Yep. A pair of boots, a lute, a javelin, a ring, armor, a mantle, and another ring.
Okay.
I guess my thought is, given what's happened recently, I'd just as soon do it here without the risk of getting to Maelstrom, and maybe there are other giants there, or maybe they don't like that we've brought these objects in, or maybe we accidentally bring a cursed object into Maelstrom that could harm the place.
Well, my thought process was going, hey, maybe we don't have to return to Maelstrom. Maybe we could go to Silvery Moon and give a couple of the masks to the Vault of the Sages, where we know it'll be protected. Or Long Saddle, same case. Split up the masks is my thinking as soon as possible. Although we could do the same thing by returning to Maelstrom and returning one of the masks.
Can we find out what the masks actually do?
Not yet.
If this is an item, well,
Should we find out what the masks do individually before we decide to go somewhere with them?
do we know who we could trust
At
with
least-
the masks?
I know a couple people, organizations. I think the Emerald Enclave could probably guard one well.
Yep. I think each of the kind of the groups that you guys have or represent or are connected with should be able to protect, adequately protect one of them each.
Well, do we know what they do individually?
You'll have to identify them.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
If you insist, sure.
Okay.
So it'll take me a total of almost an hour to identify all of them.
All right. I'll say after you've identified two, you'll notice a pattern, and you won't have to identify all of them. So the black dragon mask is a wondrous item. It requires attunement. You have damage resistance to acid, If you already have damage resistance to acid from another source, you gain immunity to acid damage. If you already have immunity to acid damage from another source, you regain hit points equal to half of any acid damage you are dealt.
Divinity style. I like it.
You gain Draconic Majesty. While you are wearing no armor, you can add your Charisma modifier to your armor class. And with that, you have advantage on any Charisma-based check to attempt to control a black dragon. Right? And if you beat it, it is in effect charmed by you. Dragon Breath, if you have a breath weapon that requires rest to charge, it regains a recharge on 6. Dragon Sight, you gain dark vision with a radius of 60 feet or an additional 60 feet of dark vision if you already have it. Once per day, you can gain blind sight out to a radius of 30 feet. Dragon Tongue, you can speak and understand Draconic. Legendary Resistance, you gain 1 legendary resistance per day. And the ability to breathe underwater. So that's the black mask. The red is identical, except you have resistance to fire damage and bonuses against fire creatures.
Is charisma still the base?
Still charisma.
Okay.
Always charisma for all of them. And you'll notice that throughout that each of the damage types that they represent, that's what each of these do.
Okay.
Combined together, a whole nother story, but individually, that's what they do.
This is what they do.
I'm telling you, like 5 sets of armor, like legendary sets. This could be my life's work. I'm putting this together.
What are you guys doing? You've spent 20 minutes identifying the weapons.
Did you have to attune to the masks?
Yes, you have to attune to the masks. But the world is at your feet. You've just taken down Imrith. You've just solved the whole world-ending event that was potentially going to happen. What do you do?
Definitely got to return to Maelstrom to check on Hecaton. And then after that, I have so much work to do.
Well, I have had trust issues in the past, and this whole thing with Imrith looking like our tier isn't helping that. But I would be glad to continue to help Loic with your mission, and Aaron with yours as well, and Artir, you as well. And I'd, if not, I could pursue my own goals and objectives. What are your intentions?
I too wish to return to Maelstrom to ensure that our work is not undone in any way. And there may be more tasks for us to do to ensure that does not happen. I do wish now to return to my homeland now that I have the object that I sought. But I do feel a debt is owed to each of you individually, and I will see this debt done before I return to my home.
Aaron's, I really just want to see my wife and child. If only for a couple of hours.
Remind me where they live.
They could be in 2 places right now. I instructed them to go to Neverwinter. But Osmond is a stubborn lady. She may have stayed in my adopted father's cabin where I left her. I'll have to find out. Neverwinter's probably the best option first, if not all together. But you're certainly welcome to come to my home. Have some food, have some drink. You can come to my hunter's lodge. We can hang out for a bit, and then I'd very much like to head to Waterdeep and deal with this doppelganger after that.
We've also got to get back to Mirabar and touch bases with Benny and Tralt and everybody. Don't forget about that.
Perhaps we could go to Maelstrom, ensure that all is well there. Go to Mirambar to collect our vessel, and then perhaps just sail south. Stop at Neverwinter along the way, get to Waterdeep, deal with our issues there, and then continue south towards Zanzibar, Zugadesh, Zaspar.
Zaspar.
I speak Dwarven and Common, not Yuan-Ti. And as the opportunity presents itself, we can't travel to the Nine Hells in a boat, so when the opportunity presents itself, go that way. But otherwise, we could just start north and head south and take care of our issues one at a time on the way.
Sounds good to me.
There's honestly no real deadline for this because I would still have to create an additional soul gem for myself before I could enact the system. So
And given that Aaron and I are, I think, now that I have the resources and Aaron knows what he knows about his father, I think we'd like to get to ours sooner rather than later.
I'd agree. Yours is going to be more time determinate. So Maelstrom.
Okay. So, teleporting to Maelstrom. Let me just prepare the amount of teleporting you guys do. We need to get an animation. If anyone wishes to make an animation, that'd be great.
In the style
Star
of a
Wipes.
Power Rangers.
Oh yeah.
Do we decide we're keeping the masks or getting rid of the masks? I'm sorry, I walked away.
I think we're all going to distribute our masks into our certain parties, if we have them. Or down to us individually to keep our individual masks safe. Maybe.
Although I would advise against it.
It might be better that we all deal with the masks in our own way, and then none of us know exactly where those masks are. So even if
That's a beautiful idea.
if by in our own way, what you mean is we're going to make an armor set where each one gets incorporated into some armor, so that we become a legendary team of adventurers that have this theme going. That sounds like a great idea. I love it.
You can do it if you want. Alright, so let me pull you guys over to the map of Maelstrom, where you should find yourselves. Let me just grow Danrik and Camel, because you guys are still large. Still huge.
Who's that sneaking behind the door?
that's what.
Oh,
Watt
yeah.
is not there right now.
Oh yeah, he got left as some advisor.
Watt is on third base.
Which Loic seems certain that he's an okay fellow, but Gamel has his doubts.
Gulorn. Gulorn.
Gulorn, yeah.
Gulorn.
And
By
it's
Henry.
not necessarily that he's an okay guy. It's more so this is his job.
Well, okay, as in he won't be too duplicitous.
That's still, like, I told Sarissa to use her best judgment, so this is like storm giant territory now.
Alright, so as you use the conch and are pulled through the ethos one more time to the court of King Hecaton, it's only been about an hour, maybe, since you last saw King Hecaton. But already he's sat there in audience with his daughter and with his advisor. Watt is nowhere to be seen right now. But you see the three of them in heated discussion. And they all stop and go silent as soon as you arrive.
Sorry to interrupt. We just wanted to make sure you're okay. And I see you're in the middle of something. We'll just stand here to the side till you're done.
I need to know if it's really you. What assurances can I have that you are you and not something else?
I will give you this gift. if you will allow me to touch you. I'll take a toe.
What are you going to give him?
True sight. I'm going to give him true sight.
You're going to give him true sight. Okay.
I'm going to give him true sight.
Roll a persuasion check to see if he will allow you to touch him.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Perfectly done. So he allows you, he reaches out his hand, you touch it briefly, and his eyes flare open as he understands what he has, looks around the room for a second, and looks at all five of you being normal, being who you are. It's like, then I assume it was a success. Come in, tell me of your tale. What became of that lair?
How much do we want to tell him? Do we even want to tell him?
We destroyed it. There were some dangers down below, some followers of Imrith who still posed a threat, but we destroyed them. We looted her lair to ensure that none would return there to find anything worthwhile, and have left it desolate and destroyed, O great king, as will be the lair of all who oppose you.
As you said, we looted the lair. He gives you a wink. He knows exactly that wasn't exactly right. You didn't do it for anyone else, but he appreciates it. Very well, very well. Well, as I said before, Maelstrom is yours at your disposal. My men are working heavily already to rebuild, get everything set up and ready for everything. Sarissa informs me that my daughters have been sighted. And we will shortly have them to question. So, what can we do for you, oh great heroes?
We should probably give him the conch that we have to destroy, right? So that nobody can get back here.
He offered it to us. He said we can keep it.
I know, but I don't think it's a good idea to have that out in the world with us.
Well, sire, if I may, I think I speak for my friends here. I don't think you owe us anything in particular. We are grateful for your friendship and are glad to continue it. And should you ever be in need, you may call upon each of us or all of us. And I think we are glad to answer that summons.
Very well. Well, rest assured, all of you, I understand that it was the shattering of the ordning that brought you onto the trail to find me. The All-Father has informed me that the ordning has been restored, and you might be interested to know that fire giants are second to last, just above the hill giants.
Well, bringing that up.
Yes, Master Aaron.
There was an issue that my friend Artir brought up earlier that we didn't really discuss. And it was to do with the leader of the Frost Giants clans, Blagothicus.
Blagothicus.
I've heard it
Thinks
both ways.
for a moment. He looks a little confused. You say the leader of the Frost Giants, but Blagothicus, he was exiled nigh 100 years ago.
Well, but it seems at the Eye of the All-Father we found spirit of his son, Egeron.
Then you understand the circumstances that led to his exile.
So it is known that he slew his son.
It is known.
It was the last wish of his son that we avenge his death.
The last words and sighting of Blagothkus showed him floating high above a village known as Parnast in a cloud. If you find him, he was a. Let me just double check.
Would Aaron have any idea where this village is? Would he have heard of that village?
1 second.
Not being familiar with giant customs.
And I apologize if I made confusion a long time ago. Aegeron and his father Blagothkus are cloud giants.
Ah, that makes sense.
Not knowing giant ways, not sure if that's something that Your Majesty would like to have handled by other giants, or if that's something that we ought to fulfill.
The fool attempted to elevate his standing by slaying his own son. Honestly, he no longer represents any form of giant kind. Should you find him and slay him, you are welcome to him and anything he owns. But I would say it would be nice to bring back some form of trinket or evidence that would suggest his death. Just so that we can know all of that horrid business is behind us.
You should see what we did to the last guy who asked us to do that. Or for the last guy. Don't worry about it.
Did you say he was floating above this city of Parnast? This method of floating, would it be reasonable to assume he is in a domicile in the clouds?
Yes, he has his own home that floats high above the clouds. It was not maybe 6 months prior to my disappearance that I heard rumor that he was above Parnast. He could be anywhere, but if you wish to follow it, that is the way to go.
So if we were to slay him, we could have his flying home?
Of course.
And all the players' eyes got about this big.
I would say a warning. The clouds are controlled by the cloud giants, and while you are a friend, I cannot stop them from trying to keep their territory their own. You will be under a lot of threat, especially if you are riding in a cloud giant castle.
It made me more trouble than it's worth. I understand what you are saying. I think we will still consider it. This is a thing that we do not own, and we may wish to have.
Very well. He looks over to the advisor to his right, Uthor. Make a note to deal with that if it becomes a problem. Very well. Anything else I can help you with?
Well, I don't really think we should head back to Mirabar like this. Being that, they don't really know that the Ordnance has been fixed and giants attacking, we'd probably be shredded. So maybe we should just chill out here for a bit and head back in the morning.
That'll give me a chance to identify everything that we found.
Okay. Your rooms are still prepared for you, should you wish them. We will give you the larger giant rooms until you shrink. I'm afraid, Master Loic, that it does put you by yourself in the small folk room.
That's fine. I've got friends around somewhere.
Aaron is going to look forward to going to bed in this massive bed and then just like waking up and he's completely shrunk down and it's just huge, but keeps rolling over to try and get out.
Very well. It is very early in the day, because it wasn't long that you guys had spent down there. You're welcome to return to the chambers or explore the city. There is not much, and most of it has been destroyed, so very limited. We just have very little pools that we can show you.
Is there anything we can do for you while we are here for the next day?
How confident do you think you are at withstanding high water pressure?
I may be able to.
Then I may have something for you.
What is high water pressure?
Being so close to the bottom of the ocean, the sheer amount of water above us tends to make the water very, very crushing, very strong. Maelstrom gets its name from the fact that at the center is a maelstrom. What I could do with is, if someone was willing, to enter into the heart of the maelstrom itself and recover some pieces of items, equipment, building, effectively statues that are very important to the giant kind.
You know what? Gamel thinks to himself, you know what? My powers are giving me like some physical fortitude, and I just like aced that whole mental thing with Imrith. Yeah, I can do this. Why not? So he says, King, I can do that.
Very well, very well.
If I die, everyone get Garrigoten for me, please.
You got it.
Have you publicly told the party that his name is Garrigoten?
I mentioned him, yeah, when he betrayed me. Vendetta.
Can Aaron just... No, it's alright, okay. You want to do it. Maybe.
What would you like to do?
The idea of going out into the open sea after having Big Squiddy attack us is playing on Aaron's mind. And he just wants to just reach out and see if there's any monstrosities about.
How far have you got?
6 miles.
6 miles. There are a couple monstrosities in the 6 mile radius.
Okay.
Large crabs.
Any massive ones.
Very, very large whales, but no krakens.
How much time do we have left on this potion?
About 12 hours.
King, I think I'm not going to be much use if I get back to my normal size, so if we're going to do this, let's do it now.
Okay. Then he indicates the pool of water immediately in front of you. All those who wish can follow me into the water. And he runs and jumps in.
Guys, I don't have to breathe anymore, so I'm feeling comfortable with this, and I didn't have really any issues with that beholder we fought. I'm not trying to prove anything here. You don't need to follow me if you're not feeling up to it. And then he'll run, and he'll take off his gear, actually. He's going to take off his musket and whelm and everything else and jump in.
Okay.
Actually, he's going to give his satchel with the portable hold to Loic and say, keep this safe. Like, really safe. And then he's going to go something else.
I'll fold it up and put it next to where Imrith is kept.
Who's joining him?
Can't breathe, so can't join him.
Actually, this is the same 24-hour period in which I cast water breathing on you,
was
right?
it 24 hours?
It's 24 hours.
And yeah, there's only about an hour off what we've got thingy, so... Okay, Aaron will join. Why not?
Okay. Artir, will you be joining them?
I am still conscious of my mortality, given my exhausted state. I do not think I will be joining.
All right. And Danric will also stay behind.
Considering he
because
almost
he's injured.
died.
But
Okay, so
out of
yeah.
character, real quick, can we... I did not want to presume to take the Tome of Leadership, but if we have some downtime now, or if Artir has some downtime now, and he was going to get it, he would like to get started on it. Do you want to put it to a vote on who gets it, or?
I think you should presume.
Is the Tome of Leadership a charm thing?
It's a +2 to charisma permanent.
Is that as beneficial to you as it is to Danric?
It as a hexblade, my attack bonus is based on my charisma. My attack so I don't use strength. I use charisma for all these things. And
does Danric use charisma-based stuff?
When he persuades,
as a bard.
and his spell DC is also charisma.
But the thing about this book is that it's like one of the very, very, very few ways, like one of two ways to get your points past 20. So
and Danric isn't at 20 yet, right?
Right.
He's not at a 5.
Out of 5,
so if he used this, he wouldn't be able to put his ability improvements beyond 20. So it only makes sense to go to Artir right now.
Well, his max would still be. His max would go up to 22.
Yes,
but
I believe that does.
He wouldn't be up there yet.
His max goes up, but
But it'll be some time before he could get there. So in terms of utility, it makes most sense to go to Artir.
Okay. Right, Artir, you need to spend 48 hours over a period of 6 days in order to study the contents. Now, as you know, every day you typically have about 8 hours worth of downtime. So just from your day's downtime, 48 hours is 6 days, exactly. So if you devote your downtime to studying the book over the next 6 days, you will gain that benefit. All right.
We haven't done anything for it. Like we're still in the beginning of the first day. We've only been out for about an hour after resting, so he can technically do 16 hours of, well, like 15 hours of reading.
Those books, son.
Can do. Cool. So Aaron and Gamel, as you dive into the water.
However, you'll probably have to do a perception check because the book's going to be like this big. You're still going to be able to see the writing.
I'll have a seeing eyeglass, perhaps. Maybe the giants. Presumably, the giants have such accommodations for their own use.
I'm sure they do. So, I need both Gamel and Aaron to roll Constitution saving throws. As immediately upon entering the water, you feel the pressure. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Every round, so every 6 seconds, Aaron, you will take 20 points of bludgeoning damage. Gamel, you will take 10 points of bludgeoning damage every round. At that rate, how long do you guys have before you start to die?
21 rounds.
21 rounds.
Okay. Or 22 rounds, actually.
So 3 minutes.
21 rounds? What, we're taking 20 bludgeoning damage each?
No,
I'm
he
taking
takes 10.
I had a better save than you did.
If I turn into a werebear and get resilience to the bludgeoning damage, it'll be 20 rounds.
Okay. So, in werebear form, paddling through the water next to Gamel.
Look like a bear. If I turn into a bear, I'm immune.
You just stay down there all day as a bear. Just like, I'm a big bear moving stuff around.
Or what do you do? What do you do, Aaron? Hybrid or bear?
But yeah, all my stuff falls off me if I go into a bear form because it doesn't fit for me. So I'll stay hybrid and take damage.
So reduced down. You both have 21, roughly 20 turns. So 3 minutes worth of time under the water before you start dying and being crushed by the weight of it. Hecaton leads you out into the maelstrom proper, and seeing a whirlpool from the water is just a fascinating sight. You can see the reflection of the light as the water is spinning and spiraling down into a huge, almost like a hole in the ground. He has you swim and follow him with the current of the water, and it picks up as you move round and round and around. You both get a little dizzy and disoriented from the sheer speed that you pick up, because you end up traveling very fast by the time you get to the bottom. You hit into the bottom where you see just piles and piles of ships. And so far this is taking you 30 seconds to get there, not having needed to swim because the maelstrom itself pulls you down. All of these ships have broken and torn to pieces, bits of broken, but most of the area at the bottom of the maelstrom is actually quite dry, considering the fact that it is an open hole right to where you are. And so you walk out, it guides you to it. Inside the center, in this big hole, kind of lodged and stuck inside of it, is a huge statue of a storm giant.
Do we stop taking bludgeoning damage once we're in the calm?
Once you get into the calm, you stop taking the bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And you're
So
out of it.
30 seconds.
30 seconds worth.
So
So
that's five.
Five
50,
rounds.
50.
So that's a fourth.
Okay. Hecaton says he needs help to be able to get this huge thing out, but once it's pulled out, that's going to allow the water to crash through and pick up its speed. It will make it a little bit harder from that point on. Are you ready to help?
Yeah. Aaron's gonna he's got 2 greater healing potions, so feeling a little bit warm from that, I'm gonna give noticing that we're both feeling fatigued and a bit damaged, I'm gonna give Gamble one of the potions of greater healing that I've got and take one myself.
How much does that heal?
I don't know.
Greater healing is 4d4 plus 4.
13. So
Okay.
that gives me an extra round.
Right?
No, that's not 4d4.
Oh, you said a roll of 4.
4.
Huh? Yeah, I know. 4. That's pretty good.
Okay, so you get back 7 hit points. So this huge storm giant looks like he's holding a trident in one hand and a shield in the other. His bottom half looks to be like a huge tail as he's stood and stuck in that point. Hecaton begins trying to move it, but his massive strength is unable to shift it.
So, Aaron, you brought your gear, right? Do you have a rope or anything in there?
Yeah.
Because I left all my gear behind.
Aaron's got his rope. He'll put it out of his bag and hold it.
Okay. What are you going to do with the rope to be able to, how are you going to work this?
Sorry, I'm just going to spend my second wind as well while I'm doing that.
Okay.
Well, I'm thinking, if you rope it up right, you can leverage it to make it easier to pull out. And then once everything starts kicking up, holding onto the rope should hopefully make it easier to move through the water, is my thought.
Okay.
So So how about
Aaron?
taking the rope? Yeah. So taking the rope and then wrapping it in loops around each one of us, and then finally onto the thingy. We can heave it together, and then we can swim together and all take the weight and bear it.
Yeah. You want to get Hecaton in on that too?
Yeah.
All three of us roped into it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That way, if we have a problem and drown, we'll all drown together. No, we won't drown. We'll die from bludgeoning damage. That's the difference. We'll be beaten to death. Not.
Does Hecaton look like he's taking damage here? I reckon he's a regular.
He's not taking anything.
Oh, he's.
Well, if the worst case scenario, Hecaton can cut the rope and drag our asses out and get us.
That's true, and we're not worried about it. We'll be fine. We will be fine.
Okay. So you use up what rope you have to be able to wrap everyone up, wrap up the statue itself, and I'm going to need athletics checks from everyone as you all work together to be able to pull.
Do we get advantage?
Either one of you does it at advantage, or you both do it individually.
Well, I've got my psionic focus that gives me advantage anyway.
Okay. But do you want me to? I've got my athletics check at the moment is 17. Plus 17.
Well, you do. Let's do it individually then. I'll do mine with advantage. You just do yours once. Let's see how that goes.
So 21 from Gamel. I hope Aaron rolls low.
It'd be hilarious. No.
34. Okay. So, as the two of you are pulling and pulling on this rope, Hecaton underneath, giving it as much strength as he can, it starts to shift. And with every moment that the statue is moving ever so further, more upright and out of this hole in the ground, water begins to just crush in, threatening to push it all back in. But you give it a good pull, and after the course of about a minute, you guys manage to get it upright completely, at which point the water immediately begins to spiral down and enclose upon you. You're all slammed right into the statue from the sheer force, and the time resumes.
Okay.
But you now have the three of you and a statue, and you need to swim against the current back up to where you had come.
Yep.
Do you have anything that you would be doing to help you do it quicker or easier?
Right,
Or just sheer strength of swimming.
Can we see them if we look down into the pool? No. Okay.
So I get the idea that we're on a surface that raises up, and then there's the pool of water underneath the thingy. So can we, if Aaron digs in with his claws and he's going to use the surface of the thing to get good grip and not actually swim it, and just drag himself through the water up to the point where we can swim up.
I'm
going to burn
doing that.
I'm going to burn my last two psi points to use Feat of Strength. Technically, as a bonus action, that gives me a +5 to strength checks until the end of my turn. But just he's digging in, and whatever psi points I had left, I'm burning it all to just give my body the extra energy to get out of there, just be stronger and bigger. I look at Aaron and I just see this muscly bear of a man, and I wish I was that strong, and I'm just trying to emulate him as best I can.
Okay. As the three of you being weighed down by this huge statue, you're all going to have disadvantage on these athletics checks, unless you have something that would cancel that out. And I need you all to roll athletics. Yeah, your thing cancels out.
My focus would get me canceled, so I should get this athletics +5.
It's just normal. Yep. Okay, so go ahead and roll more athletics checks as you are pulling the rope.
So mine would be 31.
Nice.
19.
19. Okay. Takes you quite a bit longer to be able to pull the statue, even the three of you working together, up against the force of the water. You just about manage to crest over the ledge into the calmer waters and are able to swim up to where the hole is after 2 minutes. So in the water, you guys will have lost 10 hit points per 6 and 2 minutes of that, so
It's 12. So 120.
120 hit points. Okay.
So there's 91 minus 8.
But you break out of the water, the pool, and lift this grand statue that stands and lords over the top. He then places the statue into that pool hole and shifts it ever so slightly when it locks into place. Thus, you now have a statue in the center of the room instead of an opening below.
Aaron's going to get down on all fours and then shake like a dog.
All right. So it's been a couple minutes. We move to Loic, Artir, and Danrik. Did you guys head back to their sleeping quarters to rest while they were doing this?
Yeah. I'm gonna tell Artir I'm gonna go identify all this crap.
Okay.
So I'll be a minute.
So you have
Did you wish to come to my room and have your tower up? That way we can stay in close proximity.
Sure. That's a good idea.
There are 7 items for you to identify. So you spend an hour, and during the process, Erin and Gamel are then invited down to the sleeping quarters. So you're all gathered together once more, as Erin and Gamel need to rest from the sheer amount of force that they felt after that. Loic, first thing, you grab up the set of boots, and sure enough, after 10 minutes of looking them over, you notice that engraved into the side of these boots are the symbol of wings, and these are winged boots. So, more flying.
Should I note any of this down, or are you getting it?
I'm getting it.
Great.
Okay. Shortly afterwards, you then pick up the lute. This is a instrument of the bards, particularly the DOS lute version, which I can explain all the additional spells and things that it gets later. But the basic premise of the instrument of the bards is it is a special item that allows you to cast spells from the instrument itself. So Danrik could probably make use of that. You pick up the javelin. You've seen this javelin before. You don't even need to spend much time looking at it. It looks identical to Artir's javelins of lightning. You then grab a ring. You saw a ring just like this recently on the finger of a half-orc. This is a ring of mind shielding.
Okay, when I figure out that's a ring of mind shielding, I'm gonna check it.
You put the ring on.
I'm like, hello.
There's no mind in there.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, put it back down.
Right. You then focus on the piece of armor. You guys have recently dealt with a set of armor of resistance to slashing damage that was in fact cursed to give vulnerability to bludgeoning and piercing. This now is a set of armor that is resistant to bludgeoning, but vulnerable to piercing and slashing.
Okay.
The mantle is a mantle of spell resistance.
I'm gonna, like, pick it up, feel it. Nice.
The ring, the second ring, is a ring of X-ray vision. And that's everything. Now, if I am correct, my assumption, everything except the javelin requires attunement. Okay. So, after spending an hour, you guys can all have gained the benefits of a short rest if you wish to take it while Loic has been identifying these items. What do you want to do?
Well, let's get drunk.
Do they have
Giant
taverns
sized-
well,
There
we are
isn't.
giants, so yes. But Loic, can you participate in a pub crawl of the giant variety?
Oh, I'm sure I can. You guys want to grab the hookah?
That
For
was
you
a
guys,
giant
it's the
hookah.
correct size.
Oh, hookah.
Yeah.
All right. There isn't a tavern here, but there are plenty of smaller giants that are willing to serve you and provide you with copious amounts of ale and mead and wine just to keep you guys happy.
It
As
seems
you
like
are being treated like kings
an
for the
opportunity.
night.
If we wish to, set up an establishment somewhere, this maelstrom is in desperate need
This is the
of
place.
a tavern.
The trick is supplying it.
That would be tricky. Yes.
All right, let's get drunk, play drinking games all night, and go to bed, I guess.
So an important question that I have, though, is all four of you large creatures are given large drinks. Loic, are you given a drink to scale or a large drink for you to just sit on the edge of and drink?
No, I won't be wasteful. I'll just get it
Okay.
in my own. No.
Normal size. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
You guys,
I could enlarge myself and then no, never mind.
so you all
Oh.
have a wonderful night, yeah? What was
But I
that?
do want to dip out early so that I can potentially copy some spells over from Thulz's spell book. I don't know how much time you would be able to give me with that.
It's 2 hours per spell level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but how much time do I have to do this?
Throughout the day, after doing your hour of identification, the time of drinking plus spell copying, if you want, throughout before you need to go to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
you have a further 12 hours.
Okay, so I'll hang out with them for 6 of those, and then the other 6
Okay.
will be dedicated to stuff.
Spells. Okay, cool. You guys have a grand old time. You enjoy yourselves. At one point, the storm giants bring in a huge clam. Not a clam, sorry, a crab that has been mutated in some way, the way that coral has grown off of the edges, such that when you press the crab in certain spots, it's I don't want to say screams, but the sounds it makes reverberates through the coral, and this crab is effectively a piano. And so they start pressing it at certain pressure points to cause it to scream, and it plays this most beautiful sound to you all that you enjoy as they are singing along to songs of the ocean. And it brings back memories of wave and your time at the sea.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful time.
Denric,
Denric teaches
Aaron's
them.
going to use his primeval awareness to ask the crab or get a sense if the crab's actually in pain.
It's more a perpetual state of uncomfortability. It's like being poked
It-
constantly for hours on end.
These are tickle
Eventually
noises.
you'll bruise, yeah.
Denric is paying attention. He's studying.
Learning how to play the crab organ.
Yep.
Okay.
Gamma will ask, so in the morning, we head to Mirambar to gather the ship and our crew, correct?
Correct.
Jace, I believe that is the plan.
Well, are they even going to be there?
It's been a day.
It took us two and a bit days to get the thingy. We've only been gone a day. They won't even be there yet.
Could the teleportation room teleport us to the ship, remembering what from last time we were in there?
I don't know.
I mean, I know it's
Chance.
risky. It's like a moving ship.
Yeah, it's the thing.
I
It's
don't
a
even
big
wanna-
point.
If we do that, I'm sitting on my carpet.
There's a chance that could succeed and a very serious chance it would fail.
Well, then we go to Luskin, give them a sending, and pick it up in Luskin.
No, let's just wait in Miramar. We can wait in Miramar. You got a
We
whole
need to
load of
talk to- we need
got
to
a whole
tell
load of
Harshnag
dragon
anyways.
scales,
The
man.
warning's fixed.
We can make another set of armor.
Oh, I know. I thought you wanted to go see your wife and kids, though. Wasn't one? I mean, I'm happy going anywhere.
I do, but we.
I know how it is. You can't hang out and get drunk at a giant establishment with wife and kids around. I get it.
I could just go off to Neverwinter and you guys could pick me up on the way.
What do you guys want to do? you'll be able to sleep throughout the night and gain the benefits of a long rest. So go ahead and set your hit point maximums back to normal and go back up to max.
And our strength goes back to normal too.
Strength
right?
goes back to normal. Weapons all return to normal. And the universe has learned never to do that again. In the morning, food is brought to you. A wonderful little plate of giant sushi. So instead of being small portions of fish, you can actually see a whole whale in one piece of sushi that they then slice into pieces.
Oh, that's just delightful. This is wonderful. This is a great experience. Oh, Gamble! Can you mind metal with me and show me what you saw in the maelstrom? I was very interested. I wanted to go myself, but I couldn't.
Well, yeah, that's good practice.
Can Aaron do something?
As soon as the conversation is done.
Before we sleep.
No, I mean, we'll sit and I'll call this the practice for the day because Loic always wants me to be practicing. So we'll spend a half hour doing that, refining the technique. Loic will point out like how I can more efficiently do this without taxing myself and etc.
So in terms of visuals for you, Loic, you know how when you spin a bottle of water, you can see it? It's just like that, but huge, and you could feel the intensity of the speed. It's pretty cool.
Awesome, thank you.
So, Aaron, what were you going to say? Sorry.
Can Aaron, slightly drunk, slightly missing his family,
Of course.
slightly thinking about the words that Jorah had said to him, he wants to go off and try and find Sarissa partway through the night.
Sarissa? Yep.
Noticing that she had the ability to heal, he's wondering if she has the ability to kill curses.
So you explore through corridors to find her rooms. You will find her room. It is high within a tower inside Maelstrom, and you can already feel a change in pressure and elevation just simply walking up to this point. Stood in front of her door are two stone giant guards. You've reverted to small size by now.
No, they would have been in the middle of the night. Sorry, it would have been before you changed.
No, because you guys,
okay.
It was late evening one night that you shifted. You then rested, so you've gone back to normal. You speak to the guards and they knock on the door, and sure enough, Sarissa invites you in. Her room is very simple. Very decorative four-poster bed, a vanity table just off to the side of it, but there is a huge crystal wall that allows you to see out beyond into the sea away from you. And the way that it's directed towards the actual Sword Coast. And though you can't see it because it's miles away, miles and miles away, you can see how much life there is within the sea, and it makes you feel even smaller now that you are normal size, and the immensity of everything around it now becomes a little bit bigger. She does say she can cure curses.
Okay.
If you wish.
He wants to apologise for the late hour, and maybe perhaps inappropriately coming to the daughters of the king's bedroom or private quarters at this late hour. But yeah, he's going to explain the situation.
Without even really needing to explain everything, you simply ask and inquire if she's able to cast curses. You can tell that her intuition is heightened as she's taking more upon that role of a loving guide and queen. She immediately senses what you're asking. She knew there was an animalistic form to you, and she is willfully willing to remove it. But she does double check. Are you sure?
He knows he doesn't need it anymore.
Very well. She begins to cast Greater Restoration and pours a feeling of pure, cool energy through your body. It starts at your head and just slowly makes its way down to your toes. Your whole body almost feeling like it's shrinking just a little bit as all evidence of werebear lycanthropy is washed clean away. So you'll have to drop off. I think your strength will have to reduce. No, because you've got gauntlets, haven't you?
The belt control myself. Yeah, it's the immunities and
everything sort of like senses sort of dull themselves out a little bit. The sight beyond through the crystal gets a little bit more blurry as the world becomes a little bit more grey now that your senses are no longer heightened.
But at least get back to my wife. And no, I've done the right thing.
So you then return back down. Do you tell your party when you return?
No.
No. Okay.
I won't deny it. I just won't admit it.
Fair enough. Then the night goes on. You all rest and recuperate. Back up to maximum. Refresh everything. Spells, skills, hit points. Though you didn't really lose much. And on the morning, you have the big sushi dinner. Big sushi breakfast. What would you like to do? Are you going to Mirabar?
Well, we have the teleportation circle to Mirabar, right? If we do not feel our crew will be there when we get there, could we instead visit Aaron's one of the possible locations of Aaron's family?
That's true. With the teleportation room, we could just go straight to the cabin or to Neverwinter.
I'm for that, actually, if we wanted to.
And you could use your mirror to verify where they're at right now.
What do you want to do, Aaron?
Or does the room give us the scry, potentially?
The room allows someone to attune to it for an hour, and then I believe you can scry. Let me just double check.
Loot Crate, everybody.
Hey, we are not sponsored. I wish we were, but we're not.
Hey, Loot Crate, you should sponsor us. We are eager to...
All right, so you can cast the following spells for attuning to the room, and it takes an hour to attune each time. Clairvoyance, Identify, Sending, or Teleport.
Sending.
So you could use Sending to communicate with her and find out where she is, and then teleport to her location.
Okay. I can tune to the room and do that, and then, yeah.
Okay. Attuning to the room is a simple process of just meditation within it. King Hecaton isn't there presently when you guys are there, but his guards and advisors are there to help you through the process. When you feel confident that you can push out and send the sending spell to Osrin, what do you say?
How many words do I get with a sending spell?
25.
Don't be alarmed. It's Aaron. I'm coming home. Where are you?
Okay. At home, in the lodge, Duon and Duon are here as well.
Okay. They're at the cabin.
Hmm.
So I'll attune to the room. Okay. So
And then you'll spend an hour attuning to it to be able to teleport to that location. With your intimacy with the location, since you helped rebuild this cabin with your adoptive father and for your family, you know the place very well, and teleporting there won't have any problem whatsoever. So with a you appear about 500 yards out. No, that's huge. Never mind. About 50 yards. Sorry,
Yeah.
out from the hut itself.
okay. Welcome to my little home, guys.
Would you care to
Describe
describe your cabin to everyone who hasn't been there?
It's quite relatively simple log cabin. I imagine we're still in winter, so the snows have set in. It's within a forest. There's a small clearing. It's on the bank of a rise going up into the Sword Mountains. And to one side, we built a new extension, which is the new family room. And our living quarters to the existing house where me and Gillen used to reside. And on the other side, there is a small, simple forge that might catch cameras' eye. Yeah, has anything else changed that I?
It looks exactly the same way as you left it, except now it's covered in snow.
Aaron's going to breathe a little bit easier. No, there's no sign of it's been aching him that they might have got caught up in trouble. He's gonna come follow me and not be quiet about our approach. I'm sure Osrin will pick up on it.
She will. It takes you a couple moments trudging through the snow before an arrow flies out the window of the cabin and hits the floor next to your feet.
Did you not tell her we were coming?
Is this how your wife always says hello? I wonder what happens when I wonder what happens when she's in a bad mood.
She might be in a bad mood. I'm back.
I prepare a wall of force.
Against the wife. Okay. She opens the door and you see her looking past you, keeping an eye on the forests around. Come on, hurry on in. Hurry in.
What's going on? Come on, I'm going to get everybody else inside.
As you enter the room, you see that there is a very large bag in the corner, like giant-sized bag in the corner. And she goes on to explain that 2 days ago, a group of stone giants were walking through the area, and one of them attempted to just trample down the house and take whatever they had. But Duan and her managed to slay it and scare it off. So they're a little on edge, but they were able to do it.
Okay. I'm just going to give her a big hug, and then I'm going to grab the baby and give a big hug, and I'm glad you're all safe, and give Duan a pat, and then introduce. This is Gamel and Artir. You're of course no Loic, and Danrik, of course. I keep missing him. He's so short.
Greetings, everyone. Our home is yours. Thank you for bringing him safe. I'm sure that was probably harder than it should have been, but thank you for being with him.
It was your husband.
We need to thank him.
Yes, it was your husband who kept us safe. He is a mighty warrior.
Very well, very well. I have some food prepared, ready, if you're hungry. If not, you're welcome to stay in the cabin for as long as you want. There's not much room, but...
I'm gonna set up outside if it's all right with you.
I'm gonna check out that forge, sensing that I want to give him some time alone, so I'm just gonna leave.
I nudge Denrick. I say, let's check out the trees in the clearing. It looked quite remarkable how the sun was catching the snow.
Henrik, as loud as possible. Yes, the trees. We'll leave for the trees. Yes.
Aaron's gonna nod thankfully and then look at Dawn and then
He's already on his way out.
Aaron's gonna spend probably more of his night explaining where the hell he's been than anything else.
Fair enough. She listens to your story intently, and for anyone that wishes to hear Erin's story, just go back and watch our previous videos. I'm not going to RP that out right now. It's been a long road, and sharing the tale, the tale almost becomes a little incredulous as you start giving away more details. This is like unbelievable that you did all of this stuff, and the way that she looks at you and questions whether or not you're actually embellishing things or not. Are you putting any sort of spin on it?
It'd be the opposite of embellishing it. I'm going to make it sound like I was safe the entire time.
Okay.
Aaron never, ever, ever got infected by super tetanus.
Fair enough. Fair enough. She listens to your tale. The evening, everyone is safe and everyone has a fine day for the rest of the day. She enjoys hearing the tale. And then when you finish, we'll then ask the question that I'm sure you were dreading, which is, are you home for good now?
Aaron's I have some responsibilities to these people.
You have responsibilities here.
I do. I would have explained the imposter situation.
Yep.
We have family. Family that could help with our son. Give him opportunities that we may not be able to provide. And I feel like I need to sort that out so I could be a better father.
If what you say is true, and it sounds like you were safe throughout your journey, then Duan and I are coming to meet your family.
I was going to suggest that. I wanted you with me.
Very well.
Duan should be safe to travel.
Yes, I'm sure he will.
And we're going to show you the airship.
That'll be fun. Very well. I will begin packing bags and collecting all of the things we need. We'll probably need plenty of food and rations for little Duan. But it'll be great to be on an adventure again.
That's what I wanted. I wanted you with me.
All right.
Okay.
So, while he's doing that and probably getting an earful, Loic is in the tower, Gamel is enjoying the forge, just simple tinkering away, just playing with it more or less.
Well, I'm presuming this goes throughout the night, not being sure what Aaron and Osrin are going to do. I'm actually going to open the portable hole.
Okay.
And I'm going to pull out the 1,000 platinum plus 10,000 gold, which should equal 20,000 gold value total, which is 1/5 of what we pulled. It's his share.
Okay.
And I'll have that. So in the morning, if he's staying, he can have his share and go part ways.
Okay. Artir and Danrik enjoying the trees.
This happens for only the bare minimum of time required for Loic to raise the tower. By which time I said, "Oh, thank the gods!" And then I run into the tower. It's cold out
Okay,
here.
so the rest of you spend the night, the snowy, cold night, inside the tower. Gamel is forging away, or
Yeah, I think actually, I'm gonna take one dragon scale and try to craft a bullet that has electrical properties to it.
okay, go ahead and make a tinkerer's check. Do you have tinker's tool? Or smithing? Go ahead.
Tinker's tools either way.
The only thing I want to know is he going to be in sync with Aaron's thumping?
You have a nice little forge behind your house. It is just perfect.
It is perfect, and Gamel gets lost completely in it. One of the dragon scales, you were able to punch a couple bullets out of it. You make 3 bullets, which they don't necessarily deal any lightning damage, but the bullets themselves are a little bit electrified in that when you attack with them, you'll have to tell me that you're using the lightning bullets, and you'll see what happens then.
Well, having made them, I'm going to keep... I'm going to tuck one away, and I'm going to throw the other one into my magic little bag of ammunition replication. Yep. That's
Okay.
all it's been.
All right. Loic?
Yeah, how many hours do we have before we have to go to sleep again?
Another 16 hours, more or less.
Okay. Then I will continue to copy spells all throughout the day.
Which spells are you collecting?
Ice Storm was the one that I got before I left.
It's a good one.
Uh-huh. And 16. We will do Cone of Cold next.
Okay.
So that's 10 hours.
All right. And during the day's worth of downtime, Artir, are you going to be doing anything with Danrik?
I will be reading my book.
Be reading your book, so you'll get another 16 hours into that. So 32 hours out of 48.
To be fair, I was drinking a little bit with the crew in Maelstrom, so I only had 13 hours the previous day, 16 hours this day.
Okay, fair enough. And as you guys make your plans to head out to Mirabar next, I believe, a day later, we will end tonight's session there. As the party have rested, recuperated, Aaron now has his wife and infant child joining him on this next leg of an adventure. We will see how that turns out next week. Thank you, everyone, for being with us. Bye.